and welcome everybody. We have Drexel on the show. He's muted right now. Let's unmute him. Your mic isn't connected, Drexel. Welcome everybody. Well, okay, I think we're both muted, yes. There we go. Now you can hear us. Welcome everybody to the show. Hello, the Epic Jules. How you doing? Still can't hear you, Drexel. You're still muted.
All right, now
we got you now.
Okay, yeah, I don't know what the fuck. Dude, fuck this mic, man. Look, I got potato mics, yam mics, you name it. None of this shit works. Fuck.
Potato mics, everything mics. How you been, Drexel?
I've been good. How you been, Chris?
I have been good. I've been busy as hell. Back full-time working now.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Hey, man, work is better than not working. Trust me.
Absolutely.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
When it comes to the topic of work, has the pandemic taught you, taught you to really like appreciate work and then like not complaining? Remember back in the day, like, oh, this fucking shit. It's either you take your ass to work or you start that OnlyFans, right? It's true or false? Is that not like think about it? What do you see people doing right now, right?
It's so true. You're
think about it. If you're not working, what is it that you're doing right now?
You're just basically sitting at home right now.
Sitting at home doing nothing.
Doing nothing.
Doing literally nothing. Getting fat. And video games and porn, or if you're a chick, you started OnlyFans to sell foot pics, or you're gonna pop that thing wide open like Belle Delphine.
Exactly.
What a sad existence.
That's an interesting one right there.
You know what? Bravo to Belle, though. In all honesty.
Well, she had her Britney Spears moment where she had a meltdown.
Mm-hmm. Oh, did she? I didn't know.
Yeah, she had like this meltdown moment. She disappeared, deleted everything for like 2 weeks, and then came back and started doing porn.
Oh, you know what? I took it back. I did know that. Jeremy from the Quartering said something about that months ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, let me just take this time before we get started to apologize to you and the Canuckleheads, because I remember telling you I didn't have you guys saved. I think I may have typed in something in my calendar. Everything I do, I always type in the calendar and hit save, so it always alerts me that I have something coming up. And then I think I missed your show somehow. I was like a no call, no show. I was AWOL, which is against Drexology. So because I have a no flake policy. So yeah, I do apologize for that. That I told you that privately. I just wanted to let that be publicly known that if I did fuck that up, that was all my bad. You ever have that where like you're texting somebody but something comes through, so it just counts as draft, right?
Yeah.
And so you're just going through life and that shit never actually saved. So all of a sudden someone's like, yo, Chris, are we going to this movie or not? The fuck are you talking about? It's a draft. Because think about it, all it takes is a phone call or some kind of distraction. And as it gets pushed down, eventually it just stays as draft forever.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think that's what happened. Yeah, I never actually saved you into my calendar. So yeah, that was my bad. Brutal. But I'm here now. And I'm going to grill you on a very, 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 let's call it a touchy topic, because it's very touchy.
Sure.
I can't wait for your opinion on this.
We have some stuff to talk about today.
Yeah, we do.
We do. So.
God damn. You know what? I don't know if you guys have these fruit snacks in Canada. Welch's Citrus Medley is the greatest fruit snack ever fucking created. And I've had them all.
Do you have the package to show off? Give some free marketing here. Oh yeah, we have those.
You have those?
Yeah, we got those.
So there was one called Tangy Fruits, right? And they replaced Tangy Fruits, which had a little more tang, obviously, with Citrus Medley, which has a hint more sweet. It's the only perfect fruit snack ever in the history of mankind. It's literally perfect. Like when someone says, well, how do you define perfect? You just buy this shit. Welch's Citrus Medley fruit snacks.
I'm have to look for those.
Yep.
I'm about to look for those. We don't have them at Costco yet, though, unfortunately.
Really? Do you guys have a Walmart up there?
Oh, yeah, we do.
Okay. Yeah. So from what I know, they're only at Walmart.
Oh, they're only at Walmart. Okay.
Yeah, you know how like Famous Amos chocolate chip cookies with pecans. That's the key thing, with pecans. I've only seen them at Walmart. Like you can go to every other store, you get Famous Amos just regular chocolate chip.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So make sure you know that. I'm sure you know that, right? Like if you go to a store, you say, "Hey, Crash, you like naked juice?" Different stores carry different varieties of naked juice. You ever notice that?
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like you'll go there, like, you know, Target has these flavors, and then you go to this Costco has these flavors. It's like, can you guys just give me all the fucking flavors in one? Chris, I'm all about my fucking flavor orgies. Trust me. I want all in one. I'm tired of all this. I gotta go over here for, you know, strawberry banana. I gotta go over here for tropical mango. Oh shit! Yeah, hey, on the way back, Chris, could you and Mr. Hop pick me up a fucking blue goodness? Like, can't we just have all the fucking thing one place, one stop shop? That's all I want in life is one stop shop, man.
One stop shopping. I mean, like, yeah, Costco says it's supposed to do that, but we don't get all that. We don't get all that fun stuff at Costco, unfortunately.
That's fucked
We still have Toys R Us though here in Canada.
Seriously?
Yeah, we do.
Wait, don't you guys have? There's something else that you have that we don't anymore. I think you guys even have like a Circuit City, right? Maybe one.
We have like a Best Buy. I don't know if we have Circuit City anymore.
I remember you guys had something that we didn't. Kmart. There's something that you guys have in Canada. It might be Toys R Us and something else. That was an American staple that's fucking gone.
I heard that Byway might be coming back.
Wait, what was it called?
Byway.
The hell's Byway? that could get taken a whole lot of ways, man.
It's like think of like a discount Kmart.
Hold on. How can you discount a discount? It was a dollar store, like Dollar General. Fuck out of here.
It's a step up from Dollar General. It's an in betweener.
God damn.
Yeah, I heard Byway might be coming back.
Byway. How's it spelled? B-I or B-Y?
B-I-W-A-Y. Yeah.
So Byway is in like literally buy. All right. So yeah. I mean, like I said, it can get taken a lot of ways.
This is very true. They might sell more than just cheap knockoffs of Kmart stuff then.
Yeah. Kmart's a shit show, man. I don't know how it is up there, but in America, usually Kmart is in the heart of the hood, right?
Yeah.
And if you can just look up like, I don't know, Kmart fights or just Kmart anything, Kmart ghetto. just look up Kmart ghetto and you'll get all kinds of videos. The most ratchet fucking people shop at Kmart. And
we don't have Kmarts here anymore, but
you're missing out. You're missing out on some of the best things in America. Well, have you ever gone to Walmart late night when you really needed something? Like you really needed it, and you were like, "Well, the only place to go is Walmart," and you went and had instant fucking regret. like you went in there, you saw some shit, you're like, fuck.
You walk in there and you see the front ass of like some neon green pants, spandex, things you've never wanted to see in your life.
Well, you know the people that look the same, their body shape is the same front and back, and you're like, what the fuck am I looking at? And I mean, you get plumber ass, you get everything at Walmart, and I don't know. It's just you always wonder, like, how does a place attract one type of fucking clientele, right? Now you could argue it's because of the cheap. Oh shit! Oh, that was weird.
Dropping your fruit snacks.
No, you like cut out for a second on my mic. That was weird.
Oh shit! It might be my internet. I haven't dropped any names here, but
yeah, you just cut out again. What the fuck? Is it you? Oh, I think I know what it is. All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Weird.
No, I think it might have been my headphones too.
Might have been your headphones.
I don't know what the fuck. No worry, this shit's about to get replaced. No. So I got the old Bose Quiet Comforts.
Okay.
And you know when you have that little switch that flicks on and you get the noise cancel?
Yeah.
I think that was like left on and it was like clipping in and out. These headphones are fucked.
Oh, that's annoying.
Yeah, it's time to upgrade. Time to upgrade.
So before you start grilling me, because you said you had some stuff for me to answer, some touchy subjects. You just got back from somewhere, didn't you?
Oh man, Colombia, Viva Colombia. That's all I gotta say. So I'm gonna go on my show tomorrow, and I'm gonna do a compare and contrast, and I'm gonna roast these fucking German shepherds, right? And for those of you who are watching, what Drexel? What is a German shepherd? Black women. That's what a fucking German shepherd is. Inhuman. I'm gonna go ahead and roast these demonic creatures tomorrow, Chris, because here's what happens. Here's the thing. Now, Canada and America are actually pretty similar. I mean, the West in general is pretty similar, right?
Yeah,
it doesn't matter if you're in, if I go to Australia, like I'm going to see a lot of the basic shit that I see in Canada, I see in America, I see in the UK. Fat bitches that are entitled, right, and horrible and post-wall. Well, I'll tell you what. So, as you know, feminism's goal, one of their goals, is of course to make the women more masculine and the men more feminine, right? And think about it. That's why you see women go, "I can do anything a man can do," while they want dudes to be in dresses and wearing skinny jeans and being effeminate, right? That's why they don't like masculinity. So, I go out to Colombia, and I'm gonna make like a whole segment specifically for black men, right? There are black men out there in particular. I mean, Western men in general, but especially black men, that they are in environments where all they deal with all day, every day are German shepherds, right? And barking at them all day, just barking. And Chris, I don't know if you ever knew this, man, but there's a large percentage of black males who have never actually experienced femininity before. You see what I'm saying? Like, think about it. If you grew up in the inner city as a black guy, and every woman that you know, well, I shouldn't say woman. That's being disrespectful to women. Every human with female sex organs they're just fucking masculine.
They're just like a battle axe.
Yeah, they're just always just like they have deep voices. They look like dudes, talk like dudes, act like dudes. And you're just kind of like, I guess this is all there is. And there's a lot of guys, especially in the black community, that haven't traveled, right? Because they keep them in the black box, right? Oh, right. Those Latinas are like this, or those white women are like this. So there's a lot of dudes who have like these preconceived notions about what's out there, right? You step off the plane in Colombia, and I promise you, if these black dudes just took a 1-week vacation in Colombia, that's not what hurts them. What hurts them is when they come back. Because remember, now, Chris, if I were to ask you, how do you what is your favorite blank? It's only your favorite until you find something that is either, like worse, right? Because if someone says, hey, Chris, do you prefer, iPhone or Android? Well, you had to have one in order to, you had to have both in order to compare them, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So let's say you have a friend who has and let's say you're an Android person and your friend has an Apple. And you're used to using yours, and then you switch over and like, let me just kind of feel it out. You're like, you either like the UI or you do not, right? There's it's kind of like, yeah, I can give or take it, or I'm not a fan of that one. But you had to experiment with it first. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Imagine your whole life you were stuck with a fucking rotary phone. That's what these German shepherds are. You see what I'm saying? Your whole life, all you had, and actually, no, that's you've been stuck with a telegraph, right? A fucking so everyone around you that you may or may not see them is walking around with the latest and greatest tech, and you're in with a goddamn telegraph. So what happens is you get exposed to the new shit, right?
Yeah.
And so you step off the plane in Colombia, and someone says, "Wait, what is that thing that you're carrying?" This is how I communicate. It's called a telegraph. You do know that we have these things called smartphones. What the fuck is a smartphone? And then someone says, "Hey, why don't you use mine?" And do you know what happens? It's what happened to all of us. Do you remember your life before smartphones? Do you remember you thought your life was the shit, right?
Oh yeah.
If someone asked you, "Hey, what was your life?"
Phones.
Yeah, right. You remember you thought that was the shit, right? Like,
that was amazing.
This is great. I mean, hey, I can make a call. I can do T9 text. Yeah. If I want to text Chris, I'm gonna hit the same key 17 times for an exclamation mark. And how could it get better? This was damn good, right?
Texting like that,
right? And remember, you thought that was the shit. Do you know what I thought was the shit? Was when the first Droid came out and it had a QWERTY keyboard, right?
Yeah.
So when you compared a QWERTY keyboard to a T9 text, you thought, well, fuck, this is amazing. And that was 3G, right?
Yeah.
Then 4G and touch came out. You went, oh my God. Because let's face it, porn is what changed the game. If you ask anybody, what was the biggest benefit from 3G to 4G, right? What was the upgrade? Ask anybody, what was it? It was porn, right?
Yeah.
Everyone knows this. Like, there's people out there saying, no, that's not true, Drex. I use my internet. Shut the fuck up. Okay. It's just like hey, Chris, do you remember the days when you had the computer shop guy? And you would always, you had that person that would come in there and they'd be like, yeah, well, I got blue screens again. I don't know what's wrong with this computer. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. It was porn. So Chris, I actually used to just straight up admit it, man. I would walk into a place and be like, yeah, man, I've been looking at porn, man. What the fuck you want me to say? Would you have FrostWire, LimeWire? Remember that shit?
Oh, yeah.
Torrent files. Like either it was music shit that you were looking at illegally, or it was porn, and that's why you have blue screens, right? Because if you were looking at like legitimate sites, usgov.org or whatever the fuck you're looking at, if you looked at like legitimate sites, your computer did not get blue screens. But once you started going down the porn rabbit hole,
once you started going on websites you shouldn't have been on.
Well, whatever it is. Okay, if it's something that you shouldn't be showing a child, when you started just looking at shit that you shouldn't be showing small children, that's when your computer started getting blue screens.
Yeah.
And those are the only sites I wanted to look at. So that's basically what ended up happening. And it just kind of hits you one day. You're like, man, if only I could get like high speed porn in HD. And that was the other thing, Chris, when porn got in HD,
right?
It changed lives. I mean, it changed mine. I mean, 360p, it's all right. I mean, Naomi Russell looks good in 360p.
Well, you noticed it kind of coincided with phones getting bigger too.
Yeah. Okay. Well, now hold on. I'm glad you brought that up. Do you remember way back? There was like a 1.5-year period, right? Where the goal was to make phones as small as humanly possible. You remember that?
Yeah.
Like,
I remember that.
The best phone is going to be small. And then someone says, well, Drex, what happened? What changed? I'll tell you what changed. How humans consume media is what changed, right?
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden, when someone says, hey, Chris, what do you use your phone for? It went from, I just text and call or, browse every now and then. It went from that to the primary function of most people's phone became YouTube, Hulu, and Netflix, right?
Yeah.
So
like
basically,
I have live television on my phone now.
Yeah. Well, think about it. That's what changed, right? Like when people start saying, I'm going to watch the football game. I'm going to keep up on, Game of Thrones from my phone. Well, you can't do that on a 2-inch screen, right? No. So everyone started sounding like a goddamn turbo thought. I want more inches, more.
Gandhi Fresh in the chat saying 16:9 aspect ratio changed my life.
It did. Is that shit not true? Like, do you remember that shit? Like, you looked at it and like, well, okay, I'll give you a prime example. Do you remember the original Note? The original Samsung Note. You remember it? It was 5 inches.
Yeah.
And do you remember what the opinion of the original Note was when it came out? This is fucking stupid. This phone's huge. Why the hell would I want it? It doesn't even fit in my pocket. Everyone complained about it, right?
Everyone complained about it because it was the size of a fucking tablet.
It was the size for its time. People were like, dude, this is absurd. And if you think back, the only difference was I would say at that time, how about what? What do you think? About 2 years ahead of its time?
Yeah.
About 2 years. Because remember, that was at the time when Steve Jobs was still alive. And he made it clear that the Apple iPhone was going to stay 3.5 inches forever. Do you remember that? He said it's never going to go bigger. And I think he went to 4 inches, and that was like a big deal. Like, if the iPhone is 4 inches, right?
Yeah.
Hey, remember, that was a big deal. You remember that?
It
was a huge deal. Like, oh my God, Steve Jobs bent the knee. He went 0.5 more inches. You could barely even fucking tell, right? Once he died, though, and Tim Cook took over, you started, because remember that by that point, that's when phones really started taking off with size, right? And size mattered. So all of a sudden, within 2 years, we had the iPhone 6 Plus, which was I think 5.5 inches, right?
Yeah.
So think about it. So from Steve Jobs' death to iPhones becoming huge, with what is it now? The 12 Pro Plus or whatever the fuck it is. They're huge.
They're massive. They're big.
They're massive. This is all phones have become the Note, right? but think about how fast that changed, though. That isn't that long of a time from the original Note. This is crazy, Cress. Who needs all that phone? Why would anyone want that? It just took a few years for people to be like, seriously, I do what I want. I truly want this to happen. I want someone to show up with a fucking phone right now, 2021, and be like, "Yeah, I know you guys are tired of those big phones. We got a 3.5 incher."
Like the fucking Razor, like they re-released the Razor.
Yeah, with dual screen. I'm like, but here's the thing, now, Chris, I'm actually okay with them doing that. Do you know where my problem with the Razor is? It's the price.
It is. Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute. Like, let me mention this. In all fairness, if they re-release that Razor and Motorola says it's touchscreen, but it does, the old stuff that you wanted to do, but it's, let's say, $300. You say, okay, I get it. It's like a bridging the gap between old and new, right? Maybe 400, right? But when these fuckers told you the price tag, you're like, wait a minute. What? That doesn't even make sense. I'm paying you how much? What is the cost? Is it $1,000? Is $1,000 about what? $1,200, right? I'm gonna look at it right now. $1,200. Yeah, $1,200. Fuck that.
Yeah. Oh, unless you get like a freaking 17-year plan and you're paying them
right,
fucking hundreds of dollars every month for it, then it's free. But no.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at it right now. $1,000. Now remember this. It's already been out for a little while, so that's probably why it probably came out more expensive, right?
And they just released a phone like last year too.
Yeah,
just a brand new phone for $1,000 like previous year.
Look, I'm looking at this reviews. So the 139 reviews, right? It's a 3.3 rating. And someone asks you, why do you think that is? Well, I bet you it doesn't do what you really want it to do, right?
Well, no, because it's not better than the previous model. Like it just has an extra camera.
Oh, I'm looking at this, right? Do you know what the original cost of this phone was?
I think it was like $1,500.
$1,500. Yep. It says I'm looking at it says people asking you on Google. It says, is the new Razor worth it? You click the tab. It says at $1,500, the new Motorola Razor costs less than other foldable smartphones. Less? What? I don't know about you, Chris. I don't know about anybody in the chat. But what fucking First of all, what foldable phones are you looking for? I have never.
Right?
God damn it! When's the last time you went to a phone shop and you were like, "Hey, what foldable phones do you have that didn't cost $46 and were burner phones for you to cheat with?" Are you serious? Like, let's be honest. If you are using a foldable phone in 2021, what is it that you're doing? You're cheating, or you're in the drug game, right? You're doing something illicit. Because why else would you have a foldable phone unless it's a burner phone?
Yeah.
These people are fucking. I wish somebody would ask me $1,500 for a Razor. I wish they would. I wish someone walked to me right now and was like, "Hey, we're going door to door and getting people's opinion on this new phone." Oh yeah, what do you got to show me? I wish they would pull out a Razor. Oh man, I remember those phones. Yeah, the Razor. How much is that new one? Yeah, well, sir, it can be yours right now for $1,500. I slam the door right in his fucking face.
Slam the door.
Slam the door, right? Are you serious? $1,500? Like
$1,500.
You'd wait for like Ashton Kutcher to jump out of the woods, like, well, you got punked. I wish someone would have. $1,500? The new iPhone doesn't cost that much.
Nope.
$1,500, like that's your asking price.
That's fucking nutty.
No man, come on. That's like when Blackberry makes its inevitable like small scale comeback, and they're gonna be like, it's gonna be $2,000 for a new Blackberry. Just watch.
Oh yeah,
it's coming back too, right?
And it's gonna be like half fucking keyboard too.
Yep. It's coming back.
Oh, yeah.
Here's the thing: BlackBerry will come back due to all the issues with big tech censorship, right? So they're going to say, hey, do you want encrypted message? Remember, BBM was a big deal, right?
BBM was huge.
Huge. So that's going to be their leg in the market yet again. When BlackBerry will re-enter the market, either someone's going to buy them or they're just going to come back straight up. And that's what they're going to sell you on.
Oh, yeah.
Is security. And who's to say like Parler doesn't team up with someone like BlackBerry?
Well, this is an interesting thing. I really wanted to dig in on this topic with you, aside from all the BLM stuff as well, because this is something that I've been kind of watching with like a tilted head. I'm like, what are people really doing here? Because like, yeah, big tech censorship, but this has been happening for fucking decades. Like we've been letting these websites get away with this shit for a very long time. And I wanted to get your opinion about what's been going on recently, because it's like, I don't know. It's been happening to tons of different people, and now it's happened to the most powerful white man, and now it's a problem.
Yep.
And I've been seeing it happen for years.
Yep.
I've been seeing it happen for years for people, for small people, for, what have you. Anyone that talks out of lockstep, really, of the popular opinion gets shut right off, gets yeeted off the fucking platform.
Yep.
And now we see Parler. Like, I think partly what happened to Parler, my opinion, unpopular opinion here, was that Parler tried to take financial advantage of Trump getting yeeted off and say, oh, well, come over here because we're this, we're that. Meanwhile, they're the exact same as Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and everybody else.
I've heard that.
And they're doing the exact same thing as everybody else, except now they want to get the money.
Now here's what I will say, that you're referring to, how they did Trump. This is my issue when it comes to these issues. Both sides have to defend each other. The little guy has to stand up for the big guy, and the big guy has to stand up for the little guy. The reason why that's so important is so watch this. I'll give you an example. Facebook tries to get rid of random, let's say it's 2 years ago, right? 3 years ago. Facebook tries to go after some random little guy, right? Some little content creator that, maybe he has 20,000 subs or something, right? Could you imagine Trump and other big names like Joe Rogan going after them publicly?
Yeah.
For going after a small guy? So then likewise, when they come after a whale like Trump, all the little people stand up going, no. We don't care if you agree with Trump. But I've said for years, Chris, I am a free speech fucking advocate. Mm-hmm. I go like this. My opinions may not be popular, but so what, right? We can disagree. You and I can disagree. So what?
Exactly.
I grew up in a world where it was like this. Yo, Chris, you can say what you want to say. I get to say what I want to say, but we both have the same platform to say it, right?
Exactly.
We both have the same, because think about it. If someone said, hey, Drexel, would you want a world where everyone is required to be just like you and you just have an echo chamber? I'd be like, no. Because ironically enough,
that's what Twitter has been.
That's what Twitter is. I've heard that, so I don't have a Twitter account. I never have, right? But from what I've heard, that's why they call them Twitter Puritans, right?
Yeah.
Is that I've heard that Twitter is basically a fucking circle jerk, right? Of leftism. 100%. Like progressive. So my thing is this, though. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, that Parler stayed afloat and they didn't yeet him. And what if Parler just became the right wing Twitter?
That's exactly what it would have been.
It would have just been the same. So now someone's like this. If you say you're pro BLM, you're yeeted off the platform, right?
Yeah.
I don't want a world where if you're pro BLM, you're yeeted off the platform. I always tell people this: let everybody say their side, say their piece, and let facts decide. Let reality decide, right? So if you're one of these people who wants to get behind whatever little bullshit movement or whatever, right? Because most people are unthinking fucking sycophants, right?
Yeah.
So they'll just get behind whatever. And that's why, I've been asked that question. I said, look, I never have and never will support BLM. I will not support Blue Lives Matter either. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I've had people kind of give me this like weird face. I'm like, look, I've seen too many people who are right wingers pretending that cops are on the up and up. If you know what I know, these cops ain't shit either. Okay. Are there good cops? Yeah. Are there lots of bad cops? Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So to have this whole thing where Blue Lives Matter, it's like, wait a minute, man. There's a lot of corrupt cops. Look, let's face it. Chris, we're at this point now where people they do this issue with polarity, right? Where it's like this. Chris, you either have to have your heels dug in here and you are 100%, you're all or nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's no nuanced thinking either side. Look, a lot of people don't understand the political trichotomy. I was like, if you wind up with authoritarian left, not good. If you wind up with authoritarian right, not good, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So the people who think that they're, because remember, both sides believe they're right. If you were to go back at like I said, I'm not familiar with Canadian history, but in American history, the country used to be authoritarian right. There was a time when it was authoritarian right.
Yeah.
And that's what gave rise to progressivism, to challenge that authoritarian right, right?
Yeah.
Now, someone goes, well, Drexel, what happened then? What you're seeing is that it went too far the other way, right? So now you got authoritarian left. Both political parties who are controlled by the same entity want total control of the narrative.
100%.
So it doesn't. That's why it bothers me that. And it's funny enough is that George Washington warned about this whole political party shit, right?
And they put things in the Constitution to combat this very
correct. and that's why I keep slapping my head because like I said, I'm just at that point where I was like this. I told Ty Beard, I said, Ty, the one fatal flaw of my personality I wish I could just eradicate completely is my ability to empathize. Because so Chris, if I got rid of my ability to empathize, I could truly be like set free, right?
Mm-hmm.
I could finally be free. I could like this. If I see somebody that's about to start simping when they open an OnlyFans as a client, I'll just go like this, because I wouldn't care. I'd be totally apathetic.
Right.
Every time I try to like get rid of that flaw, it just rears. Okay, it's like seeing a kid get ready to burn their hand, and you're like. Hold on. Did you ever see the movie Maleficent?
Here we go again.
Jolie? Did you ever see that shit with Angelina Maleficent?
Yeah.
Do you remember when she tries to not care about what's the princess's name? Is it Belle? Is that her name in that?
Cinderella?
Yeah.
It's not Cinderella. Aurora.
Aurora. Do you remember when she tries to not care, right?
Yeah.
She's like, I don't love anybody. I don't care about anybody. And she really does try to, right? She tries to have like hate in her heart.
Yeah.
And then do you remember when the fairies are fucking up and just like doing basic shit to keep her alive? Remember? She goes, oh, they're gonna kill the damn child, right? So even though Maleficent was supposed to be devoid of love and she had all these ill will in her heart, she still couldn't get over her empathy, right? Yeah. So she's like, okay, I'll do enough to keep this kid alive, right? And then over time, of course, she developed a bond with the kid, right? As she grows older. So then, of course, obviously toward the end of the movie, when she says, I want the curse lifted because I don't want, she realizes the error of her ways. That's kind of what happens, right? Like it's the same thing where you see people, they lash out in a fit of rage when things aren't going their way, which is what Maleficent did, right? I'm going to curse this child to get back at you. And then you see what happens later on. You're like, oh, shit, I fucked up.
Yeah.
And think about it. If someone gets put into an eternal sleep, it's like, if you want to cast a spell, you should have cast a spell on the king, right?
Exactly.
But rather than that, what did you do? I want to hurt the king by going after what he loves most, his daughter.
Yeah, exactly.
So then the daughter has nothing to do. She's just collateral damage. And then you realize, I fucked up. And that's what these platforms have become. It's both sides saying, we're going to control what people think, what they say, and then one day, and you know how this works, right? Cress, they always come for you eventually, right?
They do, absolutely.
When you think that you're on the right side, like yeah. I you know what I love, Cress? I love deplatforming people who don't agree with me. Eventually, they're gonna come for you, like what happened to Sarah Silverman, right?
Yeah,
absolutely. I'm all about cancel culture, until it comes for you. All of a sudden, it's not so funny anymore, is it? Exactly. We need to end cancel culture. This is horrible. I mean,
well, the interesting part about this, Drexel, is that you see it all the time. Like I saw it when we were campaigning to get Vic at our convention and all this other stuff and defending him and blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. You see it all the time. You see people on both sides, on both sides of it, just putting on a shirt like it's a jersey. Like they just got traded from Colorado to Washington. It's as easy as that for these people. They don't have any investment into it other than how much they're getting paid to do it.
Either paid. So here's the thing. They get paid either in money or by clout, right?
Exactly.
So that's the reason why I'm one of those guys where I will, if it's within my value system, I'll stand by that. Like I said, I'm very anti Me Too. And I don't care if it's popular, right? Because think about it. Have you noticed that Me Too has really died down now, right?
It's quieted down quite a lot now.
Quite a lot. You remember when Me Too, it was the cool thing to do, right? Was to share your truth. How these horrible men did things to you. And then what happened, Chris? What happened?
The thing is, and for people who are out there, because this is the first time, and we're broadcasting on Twitch. It's the first time that we're broadcasting on this one
smooth.
Instead of YouTube. So people out there who do not understand, because we've had this conversation a million times, but for people who are fresh to this conversation, Me Too started out as the right movement, and it quickly had people realize, like, have you ever seen the movie Idiocracy, right?
Yeah, right.
Like,
great movie, by the way.
It's a great movie. Documentary, apparently.
It is.
But but it's you see people that are, you know, not necessarily smarter, but they're more keen, and they're like, oh, well, I can take advantage of this situation to get myself ahead. And so all of a sudden it stops being about what the movement was, which is a lot of what these movements are.
Yeah.
They start out with the right mindset, but then they get quickly taken over by people who look to use that as a shield for their own motives. Correct. And I think, like, that's what happened with Me Too. Largely happened with Me Too.
Here's my biggest beef with Me Too, is that as soon as I see a black woman's behind anything, I already know it's evil. So Tarana Burke, who I am 110% positive no one raped her ever. Now, I've never met a rapist, but I have seen enough prison documentaries like our man Fleece Johnson, the Booty Warrior. And I'll tell you right now, Chris, I want you to just Google Tarana Burke and then click images. And I want you to tell me if she was ever raped. I promise you she wasn't. No one raped Tarana fucking Burke.
I mean, you can't tell by looking at a person.
I can't. Because I'll tell you what, I can interject myself into the worst rapists in history, right? I can start thinking about all these creeps from the past, like the Hillside Strangler, Ted Bundy. We got serial killers. They would rather do a life bid or face the electric chair than touch Tarana Burke's ugly fucking face.
There's a lot of creatures out there on the internet, though. That
I agree. But now here's my problem, though. When Tarana Burke started Me Too, now here's what you should have done with Me Too. Now here's why I would have actually gotten behind Me Too. If someone said, we're starting a thing called Me Too, and someone goes, okay, what is this about? And if someone said, Me Too is to call attention to the process of calling out the bad actors, but protecting their right to privacy and providing true evidence, right? On both sides, men and women. That's something you can get behind, right?
That was the spirit of it, but it just
it was just going after, because remember, Tarana Burke actually said it herself. She said, Me Too, her job was to go after black men. Those are her own words. She said, white people can go after the white men. And remember, this is when white feminists hijacked the movement, right? Alyssa Milano and Rose McGowan. Remember, they all got exposed themselves. Did you notice that? How quick that happened?
Oh, yeah.
All of them. They got exposed. Asia Argento, who raped a boy, right? Yeah. And so what ends up happening is the movement became more about just pointing a finger at somebody going, they did this to me, with no evidence, rather than saying, wait, no. Every movement should be about getting it right. You see what I'm saying?
It should be about getting it right. Absolutely.
It should be about getting it right. So if you say your movement, like, and that's my issue with Black Lives Matter. I mean, who is a pure Marxist fucking bullshit organization. And when people who are down with BLM, they don't even know the mission statement of the fucking BLM, because if you read it and read all that communist language, you would know, oh, I see what this is. This is a smoke screen, right? If Black Lives Matter shows up and someone says, hey, Cress, I'm about Black Lives Matter. Someone goes, okay, Drexel, what is your movement called Black Lives Matter? What is it about? The very first thing you need to do to stop all fuckery is to have a strong nuclear family, right? In any society, that's true of any society. If someone says, hey, where do most problems start? In the home. They start in the home.
Yeah, usually. So, yeah.
I mean, think about it. When you see girls like Belle Delphine doing what she's doing,
that like screams daddy issues.
It screams daddy. Look, when you hear these stories about these girls, you're kind of like, what the fuck? Daddy issues, right? When you see dudes out here committing all kinds of crimes, you're thinking, what happened? Oh, there's no dad in the house, right?
Yeah.
So if we can all acknowledge that, the first tenet of Black Lives Matter should be, hey, man, we got to get dads in the house. Next up, we got to deal with this issue of black abortion. You know that black women, I keep saying that, my bad. Black demons, German shepherds, abort more black babies every year than they give birth to. Did you know that shit?
That's crazy. I did not know that.
No. If Black Lives Matter, you can't say you're pro BLM, right? And pro abortion. You see where the contradiction is? Hey, Cress, Black Lives Matter. but we need to abort more black babies. Black lives matter, but we need to shoot up more black youth in the street, predominantly male, right, in the inner
Mm-hmm.
cities. Okay, so does Black Lives? When does BLM pop up? You know when, and I know when, because it's all political. Only when a black dude gets gunned down by a white guy, right? Which doesn't happen very often.
It's either usually an election cycle or when it's overtly white on black crime.
Yeah, but the white guy has to be the perpetrator,
Aggressor.
right? Yeah, you have to have a white
aggressor.
aggressor with a black victim,
Yeah.
and the details can be very sketched to begin with, right? But you don't see. Look, I have not seen BLM march at the headquarters of ghetto gaggers, not once. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're denigrating black women. You haven't heard that shit once, have you?
No.
Fuck BLM. Fucking see. There needs to be more people like me out there calling this shit out, but I know how it is. I mean, you gotta remember the black community is done. I don't even like to call it a community. It's basically a matriarchal fucktard of a circle jerk is basically what it is. And no one calls this out. Cress, I'm telling you, no one, I'm telling you, I wish you could come to a black Thanksgiving. I really wish you could. And just sit around and just listen to the conversations. You're gonna go like this, holy shit, this is fucked up. Black demonic German shepherds can do no wrong. If they have 50 babies out of wedlock, it's the man's fault. Like, wait, what? Come on.
Well, that's also like years of indoctrination. I mean, I was talking about this pre-show a little bit about how in terms of politics,
Mm-hmm.
this is coming down from government and being fed through the media as much as government, is thrashing against the media and all this stuff right now because they're saying they're not supporting things that they like. But this has been stuff that's been like baked into people's minds over the past 50 years.
Absolutely.
Like this is just the way the world is. It's being handed down. Like just stop asking questions about the government.
Yep.
Start having infighting in your households.
Yep.
Separate families, separate generations.
Yep.
Make people like fight each other instead of paying attention to the man behind the curtain.
Correct. Yeah. So, as a general rule of thumb, whoever is telling you that someone is the bad guy, that's usually the bad guy.
Exactly.
It's like a basic rule of thumb. Like when someone says, "Hey, Crest, if someone is pitting you against each other, shouldn't both sides stop and go, wait a minute. Who's telling me to fight you, Crest? If someone tells me you should hate Crest, you should really hate Crest. She's evil." And then on the other side, someone's going, "Hey, Crest, you should really hate Drex. You should really hate Drex." Shouldn't we? If the same person is telling us to hate each other, we should be going, wait a minute. What if? This is a crazy thought. I know this is crazy. What if we stopped fighting each other and turned our attention to who the same entity that's telling us to hate each other and fight each other?
Exactly.
Crest,
shocking.
These people
What
are
would
so
happen?
stupid. I'm convinced mankind cannot evolve due to tribalism. I truly believe that that's where it starts. It's tribalism.
Oh, it does. Absolutely.
It's like people won't evolve. I kid you not. There's been so many times I'll look at both sides. I'm like I've told black people this. I'm like, you do know that white people aren't your enemy, right? And I've told white people, go, you do know that black people aren't your enemy, right? And because they get so caught up in like, I just care about this, and I'm like, what does it take for you to realize you're being played? At what point do you stop and go, wait a minute, I think I'm being played?
Yeah.
They just won't, because they're lost in the sauce. They really are. They
just it's really difficult to it's really difficult to accept that when that's what your entire life has been, and that's what the entire reality that you've lived in has taught you, right?
Yep.
I mean, you look at it, you see it in the same. You see it in every demographic, unless you're talking about the top echelon.
Yep. Unless you're the elite.
You have classism.
Correct.
Between those, like I don't know if you've ever seen the video or heard about that like really old British chick that does racism things. Like,
yeah, I think I know.
She teaches like racism stuff, and she like breaks people down based on eye color.
Yep.
Instead of skin color, and then she runs tests and stuff like that.
Yeah, I remember because I was with kids, and like I remember like, the kids like turned on their own classmates and shit.
Yeah.
Now,
because like she treated people with brown eyes better than she treated people with blue eyes and everything else like that. And it came to it didn't break down via racial lines, but the people who had traditionally had had, experienced racism, so people of color, they were not sympathetic to the people that were getting treated badly because of their eye color, and just different stuff like that. It was really interesting. I don't remember what the hell her name was. That was a very intriguing.
I do know you're talking about. One thing that's always bothered me though, and when I see these experiments, is I know how I was. I've always been like this. And I know even as a kid, I would not have gone along with it. Like I know who I am, because I was a kid who used to get in trouble for not following along with the status quo, right? Like I was talking to a buddy Phoenix. We were talking about this, and it took me a long time to realize why school was so difficult for me growing up, right?
Yeah.
And then one day it hit me. I was like, oh shit, it's because I didn't conform.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have like that light bulb epiphany moment. I'm like, ding, and you're like, oh. That's why, Chris, I got in trouble for shit. I remember, I think I told the story on Nick's channel where I said, I remember storming out of gym class out of Phi Ed, right? I threw the ball, slammed down. I was like, man, fuck you. And I walked out. And so on the surface, do you know what they're going to say? They're going to say Drex is a malcontent. He's blah, blah, blah. He's, he's insubordinate, right? So that would be the report that the school says, right? But a smart person will go, hold on. Let me hear his side of the story to see, who's telling the truth. And when someone were to ask me, he says, Drex, what is your beef? Cress, like I told on Nick's show, I said, let me get this straight. I saw the report cards of the guys in my class. None of us got A's, right? Well, we had E's. So S was the equivalent of a B. E was equivalent of an A, right? Excellent or satisfactory, right?
Right.
Boys were not allowed to be given A's. We just weren't. We were not given A's in Phi Ed. Now, do you know who got A's in Phi Ed? Girls. Do you know who didn't participate in Phi Ed ever? Girls. So now does my behavior start to make a little more sense with context? Yeah. That I'm pissed that I'm saying, wait a minute, we're out here going all out and we're being punished because they're saying you guys are too aggressive. You're too this, you're too that. And then on the other side, someone actively does fucking nothing. And they're rewarded for doing nothing while I'm punished for doing something.
Right. It sends the wrong message.
It's the wrong message. So you start to see this in lots of other avenues. And that's the same thing with Me Too, where someone says, hey, Crest, just make an accusation. And if someone says, well, what if it's not true? What if you made up every fucking word is a lie? They go like this. You're not going to be punished for making up something that, you ruined someone's life, right?
Yeah.
Well, if I know I can ruin someone's life, all I have to do is I can be either emotional or I can be a human being who lacks moral integrity, right?
Right.
So if I get emotional, yeah, fuck it, Crest raped me. Well, if I just say that and then someone goes, when did this happen? 26 years ago. What? Because now, Crest, and now think about this. I didn't go to authorities with my accusation, right? Exactly. I went to social media.
Yeah. That is the authority now, though.
That's the authority. Like it's social credit. So, Cress, I'm fully aware that at some point, God forbid I ever become successful online in the online space, right? I'm done. I know that. I already know because random bitches that I pumped and dumped are gonna come after me, right?
Yeah.
Wait, is that him? I know him. He fucked me once or twice, and he didn't call back. He's a monster. Because I regret the sex, or because I feel manipulated because he didn't make love to me and give me children and marry me. It's rape. Are you serious? Are you fucking
retroactive?
This retroactive, I regret something, so therefore it is. No, it's not. Because now if I say that, Cress, if you are the big black guy, you're not allowed to be the victim in any scenario, man. Any. I can never say I was the victim. It doesn't matter what the situation is. I was in Colombia and I told my homegirl, I said, if I got jumped by 5 guys right now and I beat the shit out of them, I would still be going to jail. Even though I got jumped by 5 dudes, I'm not allowed to be a victim in any scenario because I'm the big black guy.
Yeah.
And I've never heard someone like years ago, Shaquille O'Neal talked about this, where when Shaq was in his prime and officials didn't know how to officiate him because he's literally the big bad bully, right? He's the biggest, baddest dude in the league.
He's the big dog.
He's the big dog. So do you know what he said? He goes, no one ever roots for Goliath.
It's
right?
true. Yeah.
So here, remember, he's just born. That's just what he is, right? So he goes out there and dominates. And what ends up happening is that guys started flopping. To me, the flop in basketball is the equivalent of the false accusation.
Yeah.
I just turned my shoulder and then you fell on the ground and screamed, ah! And the ref goes, break foul, offensive foul. You bullied that guy. It's like, wait a minute, the guy just rolled over. I didn't even hit him. I didn't do anything to him. It's the same thing, right? So now I'm sitting on the bench. If I'm Shaq, I'm sitting on the bench with 2 fouls in the first 2 minutes of the game. Because, and remember, the other side is laughing at me, right? Because they know they're gaming the system.
Well, and that's the thing. And you have people on both sides of it. And it doesn't matter how many people realize after the fact that, oh, that person was lying or that person flopped or whatever else, right? Yep. You're going to have people that support it blindly no matter what. Because they have agendas that they want to push. Like, I've been in situations where people have made false accusations, and I had someone point blank say to me, I don't care if you did it or not. I want to see you burn.
I've been there.
And it's like, I don't even have anything to do with that person.
Do you know what's funny about that, Cress? Is this something that really got to me when I was growing up, which was you had people that could make a false accusation, and no one ever seemed to care about how that affected the person who was falsely accused.
Yeah, no one ever
right?
does.
No one I told the story on Nick's show where I got falsely accused of being a bully, and if you know me, that goes against everything I stand for, right? Because now you're questioning who I am as a man, and I would never use my physical dominance to bully people. That's just not who I am. So to get that accusation levied against me, and what really bothered me is that I wasn't allowed to face my accuser, and that really got to me.
Yeah,
and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm like. So here I was, so I was not trying to go at the kid like with any kind of physical violence. I wanted him to understand that, yo, dude, I honestly just bumped into you by mistake, and I said I was sorry. I don't know if you heard me, but I'm not a bully, right? Like that's just not who I am. But because I'm not allowed to face my accuser, they just get to say whatever they want. I'm like,
well,
and no one cares.
It's the replacement of the justice system. It's an
Correct.
Adjacent justice system.
It's sad. Think about it. No one cares. Like, there's guys that are getting locked in prison.
Well,
and they find out, they're like,
care. People do care. We're seeing that right now. Like that. This is what I was bringing up earlier with Trump. I mean, people have been yeeted off of Twitter. People have had lives destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
People have there's people at their seat. Like there's a company out there. One of the CEOs literally can't even get a bank account because MasterCard has blacklisted him.
Yep.
No one cares about him because, either people don't know about him or he said something that they don't like. But it comes down to Donald Trump. All of a sudden, you have like 10 million Americans that are up in arms over it. This stuff happens all the time. People do care. They just don't care until it happens to one of their own.
Yep. And and it's funny you say that because I'm the kind of guy where I don't have to like you or even agree with you, but like I said, I'll stand by principle. So like prime example was when Keith Ellison got falsely accused.
Mm-hmm.
I stood by Keith Ellison, and anyone who knows me knows I don't give a fuck about Keith Ellison. However, what I do care about is false accusations.
Yeah.
So when he got falsely accused, I'm like, look, man, it was kind of like the thing with Al Franken, right? Okay, was Al Franken being kind of ridiculous? Yeah, but given context, with the whole, it was like the fake groping picture. Remember that whole fiasco?
Yeah,
it wasn't really a big deal because, like I said, I think the girl was like sort of in on it. Like she laughed it off, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then so it's like the media basically took something that was, kind of like it's like you and I having like a dirty in joke. And then someone says, like, oh, well, that's because, Drex is this or Crest is that. But it's like between, acquaintances and friends, people say and do things that if you show it to the public would look really bad, right? Because it's all about optics. Exactly. You know that. Everything is about optics. How does it look, Crest? It's like, wait a minute. It's no longer about, it's like you said, it's adjacent to the justice system, right? There was a time when it was about justice. Now it's about optics. How does this
what
look?
It looks like, the perception.
The perception. How does it look?
Yeah,
it's like, it's
I'm one that stands by facts. Like this goes back to even like one of my first jobs, like freaking 16 years ago. Like it was all about optics. It was all about what things looked like. It didn't matter what the facts were.
Yep.
It mattered like, oh, what does it look like? Oh, your attitude is coming off this. Well, maybe there's a reason for that fucking attitude.
Yep.
Like maybe there's a reason behind it. And it's like when it comes down to it, it's like maybe Trump said something bad, maybe he didn't. People out there, like, what have you, people out there listen to him. He should probably be smarter in the position that he's in. But the fact of the matter is that there's thousands of people get kicked off of fucking Twitter. Thousands of people that get their fucking businesses destroyed, lives destroyed for literally nothing. And no one said a fucking word about it.
That's all it is. It's the wrong thing. Like, well, but it's funny because, and this has happened throughout history where I always typically go, nothing lasts forever. So the reason why I'm so into due process is this. If you have due process and you're being fair, you go like this. It doesn't matter what side the pendulum swings. If everybody can agree on these basic things, these basic tenets and principles, what ends up happening is you have a system where it's like this. People go, yeah, that person said this or did that, but it isn't going to be like life altering and ruining people. So because of that, we're going to protect their free speech. Because of that, we're going to protect blah, blah, blah. Like, so even if someone does something that's a little, like I said, there's like levels to it, right? Like it's the same reason why when someone says, hey, Chris, what if someone walked up to you and said this? All lawbreakers should get the death penalty.
Well, that was a thing back at some point in history.
But what did people realize real quick? Wait a minute. Here's the problem with that.
There's a problem with that.
You can do something like really petty, and remember, in context matters, right? Like, what if you committed a crime? Because in order for you to like save someone's life, you had to commit a crime, right?
Yeah.
What if someone says like you're not allowed to? I don't know. Let's say you're not allowed to break into a store, right? But what if someone saw someone being assaulted in a store, so they had to bust through the window and go help the person, right?
Exactly.
They'll go, well, you just trespassed, so you deserve. It's like, well, the person they trespassed in order to, in this case, breaking and entering to help somebody because they saw someone being attacked by a gang of thugs. What do you do now? Or if someone says, "Hey, Chris, we got to kill everybody who breaks the law." Well, hey, if you drove 31 in a 30, you just broke the law, right?
Done.
Oh, you're done? You jaywalked? You're done?
You're done.
So people they would realize how stupid that is. They go, whoa, we need to make sure that different level there has to be levels to crime. Like, okay, and what was the intent? A person jaywalking is just going like this. Hey man, I don't see anybody. I'm sort of in enough of a hurry where I don't want to stand here and wait for the light.
Yeah.
Okay. Big deal. Now, if you go and get hit by a fucking car because you're stupid, it is what it is. That's on you.
But now we've gotten to a point because we spent like a couple hundred years getting there, right?
Yep.
We spent a couple hundred years refining that process. And now we're at a point where the process takes a long fucking time because we have to review the facts. We have to listen to arguments. We have to get context. We have to have someone listen to it and determine who is saying what here and then make a decision on it. That takes years. And there's a backlog of these things. That's the current justice system. And people are fed up. They want things now because we're in the social media age.
Well,
they want things right now.
Not only do they want it right now, but here's the biggest thing that I saw. The real pandemic is the lack of common sense, right?
Absolutely.
It's permeated like every facet of our lives where there's just this stupidity that runs amok. And it's like, you guys do know that like you can just use common sense and a lot of things will they'll kind of work their way out, right? They'll just kind of settle their own thing. Like if you and I have a disagreement or something, I say something that hurts your feelings. You say something that hurts my feelings. Why does the government get involved in our fucking disagreement?
Exactly.
Right? Like, well, why is it? And this is like, I was on Nick's show and I told, and I was like, just back the fuck up off me. A lot of people don't understand what that really means. It's like you get to this point where you just get tired of people and their bullshit. Because I don't take people to court. Like if someone got a fender bender, I'd be like, look, man, let's just sell this the right way. There's no need to do something crazy. Like, okay, what kind of, what level of damage is there? If someone offered me money, we saw this in a movie where it was a basic fender bender, right? And the guy offers him money. I'll be honest with you, Chris. If someone rear-ended me and it was like pretty minor, and they walked up and said, "Hey, here's $2,000," I'd be like, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Because is it really that big? Like, because when you start doing insurance information, is it really that big of a deal? You see what I'm saying? You can get a new bumper for $2,000 or less. Is
Yeah.
it really that big of a deal? Come on. But everyone has to make such this. And have you noticed like the Karen mania has gotten out of control, right?
Oh yeah.
It's getting completely crazy out there now. I mean, any little thing, here comes a fucking Karen out of nowhere. You're like, where were you at? We hide in the bushes? Were you underneath a desk?
It is over literally nothing. Like
Nothing.
I see it all the time. Like, cause I work in like a retail setting in the middle of this fucking pandemic. So, essential worker, people coming in for fucking fireplaces. Cause fireplaces are essential.
Of course.
And you have people, Drex, I'm not even making this up. I've had people come in to the store all fucking week, like 3, 4, 5 buggies full, over the top full. They come out like they're checking out $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. The next day they're returning half of it.
Yep.
Because they just want to come out and shop because they want some excuse to get around the restrictions.
Yep.
Like, and then when they're not allowed to return something, they fly off the fucking handle like you just shot their firstborn.
Yep.
It's unreal.
It's unfortunate, but like I said, it's unfortunate but not unexpected, right? And that's why Nick and I were talking about this, where Nick lives out in the middle of nowhere, and I was like, that's not for me because, like I said, I want to have decent food and be close to a major airport. So when I want to get the fuck out of Dodge, I can just go, okay, it's within 30 minutes, right? I can get to the airport. Like I'm not gonna be 2.5 hours from an airport. Fuck that. But my thing is this: you just get to a point where like I said, when I was growing up, I didn't understand why old people were the way they were. Right? I was like, what is their deal, Chris? Why do old people act like that? Because I mean, think about it. Do you notice that all old people have they act basically the same, right?
Yeah.
And you didn't know why that was when you're growing up. They don't give a. You're always, and they don't want to be bothered with anybody, right? Okay,
exactly.
What? I'm 38. It didn't take me that long to figure out why old people are the way they are. I was around 30 when it finally hit me, where I was like, I started to figure it out. I was like, oh, I see what happened. They've put up with so much bullshit. They just want to live alone with their spouse or whatever, and just be away from everybody. They're like if they're going to invite people into their lives, like family members or something, they want to see them for a small amount of time. And all right, now get the fuck out of here, so I can go back to just sitting here and not being bothered, right?
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. I bet you can ask any old person
right now,
right? You know what's kind of crazy though is like you look at this the whole pandemic, and do you remember when the lockdown first happened last March? Do you remember how long it took everybody to kind of realize, like, you know what, Chris? I don't really need DirecTV, do I?
Yeah.
Do you notice how fast like everyone started realizing, like they started questioning what is essential in their life, right?
Exactly.
And that doesn't include services. It includes services. It included people.
Yeah.
Chris, who's really important to you? You found out during the pandemic, right?
Oh,
like,
I found out.
Essential. You found out real quick. Like, wait a minute, I don't fucking need you. You're a liability. You're not an asset. Like, and when you kind of like weaned all like, and I saw this with one of my girls. She was telling me a friend of mine was like, she realized that certain people in her life, like they just wanted to, like they're like drinking buddies. They're not really even friends.
Exactly.
It's just someone. So you start to realize like that's all you do is just want to go out and get fucked up. Like you aren't a benefit to my life. And you know how people say, "Oh, these are my friends." These people are not your friends.
No,
they're not your friends.
They're just they're just people that siphon and just drain you.
Yep. And you got to get rid of those people out of your life.
We have to.
You know what's crazy is that like as people's lives truncated, here they are sitting there. Let's say the shutdown last March, right? By the time you got to about, I'd say about like June, July, I think a lot of people, if you're not one of these like attention whores, you really were content, especially if you kept working, right? Like if you're a person that kept working, you're like this. Pandemic, no pandemic, I'm fucking good, bro. Like I'm good. And you realize how small your life got. You're like, man, I really don't need as much as I thought I did.
Exactly.
People, services, items, right? Like people start looking at certain things that they own. They're like, do I really need this shit? And it makes a difference.
And then you have a lot of people, and I was talking about this yesterday with some people on my stream. But you have to figure out what makes you happy, because there's a lot of unhappy people. And you see this all the time. I see it in the news all the time about parents flipping out because they have to stay home with their kids. It's like, you've had fucking kids. Like you've put effort into them. It's like you're raising your kids and you can't stand to be around them.
Yep.
Like, I understand like that can be a handful sometimes, but it's like,
that's what you signed up for.
Just a fucking puppy that you just picked up at the pet store yesterday, Like,
well, a lot of people. One of the things I learned was that the people who say they want kids the most, what they really mean is they want babies.
Yeah.
They want because remember, young babies and young children, like toddlers, that's social credit, right?
Yeah.
After they get past that little phase, they're like, shit. I mean, I have to do something other than just change diapers, and you can
exactly.
So I've always found that to be a great irony, which is people who let's say they weren't they could kind of I have a take it or leave it kind of approach to kids, but they end up having kids. They tend to really enjoy their kids because like they weren't craving them; they just came into their life, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The people who are like, all I've ever wanted to be was a mother. Oh, I've always wanted kids. And then they get the kids, and like you said, they're always complaining. This shit sucks. I can't believe I got to stay here with my fucking kid all day. I mean, damn.
It's like, you should be counting your blessings, because like most of the time these people are working like 2 or 3 jobs, and they're constantly out of the house, and they never get to see their children. And then when their kids grow up and move out, they're like, oh, I wish I had more time with my children.
Yep.
Like you hear it
and most kids end up resenting their parents anyway. Like if you were to do a survey of how much the parents and the kids, once the kids are grown up and adults, how much time do they spend with each other? I bet you most people it's very minimal.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, I mean, look at the holidays, right? You get to the holidays, most people, that's the only time they see their relatives, right? They don't talk to their fucking relatives during the year. They aren't hanging out. They aren't calling them out of the blue like, hey, Chris, hey, cuz, what are you up to? No, you see them at a family reunion or at fucking dinner, right? Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year, and then you don't see these fuckers again until 2022.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And people say, no, it's not true, Drex. I said, okay, pull out your phone. Click photos. Show me all the time you were out hanging out with your fucking cousins. And they're kind of like, I mean, we just get so busy. You're so busy, huh? 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And during the pandemic, when you can't go anywhere. So then what was your excuse? And you start to realize, Chris, a lot of people are just phonies. That's all it was. They got exposed. I don't know. I just don't have time. How did you not have time? But when everything was locked down, you had nothing but time. You still didn't go see people.
They had nothing but time, but they get to watch like Big Brother and Survivor, and Masked Dancer, and they tell
you all about that shit, right? Well, I remember saying that when I had a coach, an assistant coach, when I was in JUCO freshman year. He called me out on my bullshit, and I couldn't stand the guy. But like, it's that lesson that sometimes there's like a lesson that just sticks with you for like the rest of your life. Oh,
absolutely.
And this dude called me out on my bullshit, and when he talked about, he pulled out a calculator on me, like literally right there. Like I'm literally sitting in his office. This fucker pulled out a calculator and started questioning me on what I was doing on an everyday basis, right? And he types in 24 and then hits minus. And he starts subtracting all the time during the day that I'm doing something, right? I'm in class X amount. I'm sleeping X amount. I'm eating X amount. I'm between classes X amount. So when he got to the bottom of it, I think there was like, I want to say it was like 6 hours a day that were uncounted for, right?
Yeah.
So he's like, so what were you doing those? Now remember, Crash, I knew what I was doing during those 6 hours, right? I was bullshitting, right? Playing video games, hanging out, right? Like you know what you're doing, right? Yeah. Now you're not gonna say that. I'm just so busy. I can't put extra time into the gym,
man.
Once he showed me that, though, that's why I never forgot it, because I'm like, he's right. Like it doesn't matter how much I dislike somebody. I could always say, look, man, if you're right, you're right, and it was a great point.
Yeah.
And that's that lesson I took when people start telling me how they're just so busy, and then you just ask them about TV shows. How have you kept up with every episode of 9 different shows, but you tell me you can't get your fat ass in the gym? I know why.
Exactly.
It's because you literally you get off work and sit on your ass for 8 hours a day and watch TV.
Yeah.
Simple. But rather than say that, they say, I'm just so busy with the kids and this and that. No, you're not. No, you're not. No. Nope. 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 Nope.
Well, time management is something a lot of people struggle with.
Yep.
And I noticed that when I was working in a call center and I actually had to sit down and like crunch everything down and be like, all right, well, this, that, and the other thing. And it's like, you notice that people are really fucking bad with getting projects done or getting anything done because they just, oh, you know, I'm just going to sit down and have a beer, or, you know, smoke a spliff and just, you know, blah, 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 relax. Oh, I had such a hard day at work. It's only an hour, blah, blah, blah. But the fact of the matter is like they just don't pay attention to how much time they're spending on things.
Yep.
And then they just, and you see it now with the pandemic too, because the pandemic people don't have anything to do. And they spend entire days or entire weeks doing nothing.
Yep.
And they're like, oh man, I'm just so busy. I just don't know where the time went.
You know what? I still think that was the funniest. Like when things first happened and it was like a full lockdown in terms of like nothing was really open. Nothing was really like, yeah, I remember going like I said, if I were to think back to like March to April, even I would say about half of May, I can remember going outside, hopping in the car. You know, I'm out working, I'm doing stuff. There was like no one on the road like, at all. You remember that shit? Like April. You think about early April.
Ghost town everywhere.
Everywhere was a ghost town, right? It's something. Holy shit! It's a ghost town, literally. Like no one's out here. And oh man, and yeah, you sure hear people say the same shit. The same shit. How busy they were. They didn't make time for something. I'm like, bro, you have nothing to do. Yeah. Everything's closed. If everything is closed and nothing's open and you're just at home and I know you're not working, what is it that has so much of your time taken up? Yeah. They never had an answer.
The kids don't feel like it.
Yeah, that's it. Just say that. Just be like, you know, man, I just don't feel like doing shit. Just say you're lazy. Just say I don't feel like doing shit. I would accept that.
Exactly.
I would accept it.
Oh my goodness! But you see, the thing that what we know the truth is though, is people are replacing all of this time that they're just not doing stuff. They're replacing it with, you know, going online and being outraged about things that don't affect them.
Yep.
Which I never understood.
I never understood that because, like, until I went on Nick's show, that was the first like online imprint I had at all. Because I wasn't, when people looked me up, they're like, "Dude, you're literally a ghost. You're not on fucking any social media." I was like, "Dude, I lived in the real world my whole life." So like, the online space never really made sense to me because I'm like, I don't know about you, Chris, but like the whole issue of like the keyboard tough guy,
oh my,
has always been stupid to me. I'm like. So here you are behind a keyboard and you're talking real tough, right? You see these people in real life, man, and all of a sudden everything becomes no, chill, bro, chill. It's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Now you said some insane shit that you were going to do X, Y, and Z to me, or you're going to do, and all of a sudden you see the person up front. Like I don't know if you ever saw there's that troll. I think his name's like Charlie something. And when Deontay Wilder was the undefeated heavyweight champ of the world. This guy made some very out of place comments to Deontay Wilder, and then he brought in his daughter. You know the rules. You never talk about people's kids.
Yeah.
And he did because, he's a douchebag. So he ends up challenging Deontay Wilder. And I already know what happened. I bet you that dude, he never thought Deontay Wilder would actually show up, right?
Yeah.
Oh, he's the heavyweight champ of the world. Why would he listen to an online troll? But he did, though. So the heavyweight champion of the world shows up at a gym to challenge you because you ran your mouth on social media, right? This dude literally, I don't know if you ever saw the video, he literally runs out of the ring. He runs out of the ring, man. Like if you just look him up, I'm gonna look at the guy's name and send it to you. But like Deontay Wilder, who is freakishly because he's a professional athlete, right? A heavyweight champ of the world, freakishly built, hardest hitting heavyweight arguably ever, right? This dude starts swinging at this dude, and you can just see him like the fear, like no, he's chill, no, stop, man, stop. So all of a sudden it stopped. See, now remember when you were online making these videos, you were talking real tough, right?
Right.
And this is where my problem is, Chris. I'm okay with this guy being allowed to say what he wants to say. I'm okay with that. What I'm not okay with is that if Deontay Wilder then takes this guy up on a challenge, if Deontay Wilder really hurt this guy, right? Like really hurt him, Deontay Wilder would be held liable, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Why is that okay?
He'd be the first one crying for help too.
Yep. Runs the authorities. He assaulted me. I felt so threatened. It's like, wait a minute. You provoked somebody by
Yeah.
making comments about them and their children. You do not ever bring up people's kids.
No.
If I have a beef with Nick Rekieta, I would think about how that would sound. I'm on social media threatening Nick's kids. Like, are you serious? Like you see how insane that would sound? Like, so I'm some random troll going, yeah, and I'll do this to your kids. Okay. The person's gonna react to you. And then I can't then sit there and be like, I don't know why Nick is coming at me with firearms. You said you were gonna, do things to his children. That's why he's coming at you with equal and opposing force.
Exactly.
Come on, man. These fucking people.
Well, you see it all the time, though. You see it all the time. And it's always these people that, are making calls to action, but they want everyone else to do the action.
Always.
They just want to sit on the sidelines and cheer it on.
And yeah, they kind of want to. There was terms for these people out there that try to stir shit up and everything, but at the end of the day, that's why I've always told people. I said, if you want me to believe that you are what you say you are, then you got to put some skin in the game, right?
Yeah.
You got to put your face out there, like don't hide behind an avatar. I don't have any fucking avatar. If somebody has an issue with me, they can actually see my face.
Yeah.
And I'm tired of hearing this whole but I don't want to lose my job because of this reason. I don't want to. Okay, so which one is it?
Which one is it? My hair today, so I'm an avatar today.
Yeah. Well, your avatar is you, though. You see what I'm saying?
My avatar is
not,
me. Yes.
It's not. It's a picture of you, but it's not like it's some fucking glowing unicorn or something, and you hide behind her. It's a picture of some famous celebrity. Or hold on, man. Which one is it? Which one is it? Exactly. And because these people always want to talk shit and not be held accountable.
Yeah.
And
so I gotta ask, because this is something that I saw, and this is something I've called out in the BLM riots. I've called it out in other bullshit riots. I've called it out in the fucking Capitol riot. These fucking clowns that dress up in fucking war paint and go out and just stir shit up just for the sake of stirring shit up. These people don't belong to these fucking movements. They're not Antifa. They're not BLM. They're not MAGA.
Just hecklers.
They're just people there just to stir shit up.
Yeah, they're bored, right? People ain't got shit to do. Well, do you know what? And do you know where you really saw this? I think it hit a peak level was right after George Floyd's death, right?
Yeah.
Think about the timing of George Floyd. People were inside since mid-March, right? George Floyd dies at the end of May. So for over 2 months, everyone's just been sitting inside, right? With pent-up energy. Maybe they've been collecting unemployment. Maybe they haven't. They just needed something to do. And that's why when I saw people in England marching and shit, I'm like, wait a minute. Get the fuck out. Are you serious? They just wanted something to do.
Yeah.
These people have their own agendas. Like I said, the people who were looting and breaking shit and stealing shit, that's because that's what they wanted to do.
Exactly.
They just needed an excuse to get out there and start doing it. Yep.
They weren't part of any movement.
Nope.
Even though they hide behind the movement.
Yep.
And they use it to its full extent. It's so aggravating.
Well, it's pointless. But you can't tell people nothing. They'll sit there. No, Drex, we need to get to this social justice. I'm thinking to myself, yeah, you do that. You do that. I mean, I'm gonna be sitting over here chilling. While you sit there and
get on Facebook, feeds an African child.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, it's funny you say that because one of the things I've told people is that if you're black, the biggest I would say the biggest kind of infiltrator is the white liberal, especially white female liberal.
Oh yeah.
Because they usually expose themselves as the Karens. Like when someone says, "Hey, Chris, have you noticed the profile of a Karen?" Who is the Karen usually? She's not. Rarely is she the conservative, right?
Yeah.
Or the independent. What is she? She's usually the liberal, a white female liberal. Those
usually
three things.
The person that is on the side of the most
BLM and save the whales and we need to end racism, and then a black guy just happened to be walking through a fucking park and he's trying to kill me. He's a black man. I'm looking like, is this bitch serious? And we have this society that they haven't figured out yet. They're all lying.
Oh
So
yeah.
I made a comment, and I had someone who's a fan of the show who reached out to me, and he has a girlfriend who said that she took offense to my quote of "Ain't nobody raping these hoes," right? And I think he took that. I think she took it like 100% literally, like as in like there are 0% rapes on Earth happening, right? And I was like, look, the quote is actually hyperbole, obviously, right?
Obviously.
And basically what it means is when these random females stand up screaming "Me Too," how many of them have ever been proven to be true? Cress, none.
Well, and they don't have to be under the rules of social media.
Yep.
Right. Under the justice system, there is a burden of proof, but under the justice system of social media, there is no burden of proof.
None. Well, when we had that Miss SEC girl, Kat, when she was on Nick's show the first time, and she said that the actual number of rapes on campus, she said if she had to guess the actual legitimate, she said 2%, Chris. 2.
Yeah.
2. So that basically that actually feeds my logic, right? When I say ain't nobody raping these hoes, go on any college campus,
very
Chris.
little.
Because I talk about time. I go, it almost doesn't happen. I go, if someone asks you, hey, Chris, can you name a particular place that you can honestly say is a true rape culture? Name one place that you can think of right now that everyone would agree is a true rape culture. Can you name it?
Are you talking like country or like?
Oh no, just place. Like a place is in like this particular, let's say, location is the true definition of rape culture. You know what it is?
I can't think of in the modern era.
Oh, I can. You want me to tell you?
Go for it.
Men's prison.
Oh yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Okay, no, watch this. Name a place that you can argue has more rape than men's prison. Go ahead, right now.
Probably
the workplace?
Prison.
No. College campus? No. Dark back alleys? No. Think about it. Could you name any place where you say, I can stand here and hear nothing but stories about rape? There's nowhere on this earth you can say that out, right? The one place that everyone agrees that don't drop the soap. The one place everyone agrees that
jokes about
there's jokes about it because people know you wind up in remember, when I say prison, I don't mean white collar prison. They seem like Bernie Madoff. I mean black man prison. With the booty warrior Fleece Johnson. You see what I'm saying? Like I'm talking like the rough, gritty, heavy and gang culture kind of prison, right? You're gonna get raped.
Right.
You're gonna get your cheeks took. So if everyone can agree that is the one place that everyone agrees, like, yep, that you go there, you're going to see some rape. Go ask the prison guard. Oh man, it happens all the time, right?
Yeah.
But when it comes to college campuses, hey, we got a girl right here who's on the inside. She's around athletes, and people keep saying, "Oh, the athletes are the worst. But they're so entitled. They just do." But 2% is what she said.
Well, here's the thing, though, Drexel. You have to bend the definition of the word.
Correct.
To have it fit the narrative that people want to push at that point in time. Because the thing is, it's like if you're going by the textbook definition of sexual assault, which is like the textbook law definition of sexual assault, yeah, you're gonna get like 2% of cases. But if you get the social media definition of sexual assault, where
you regretted it,
man
he
or
brushed
woman
against you
or whatever, like looks at you the wrong way, or they catcall you, like that gets lumped in there. Being creepy, quote unquote,
which is all subjective, right?
It's all subjective stuff. But you can't be subjective when you're talking about matters of law.
Correct. You have to be objective. So you have to say like this: were you held down against your will in forced penetration? If that did not happen, by definition, that's not rape. Okay. Right. Now, if the only other time that you can say that happened where you weren't forced is that if someone drugged you, right? That's why they call it date rape. Someone used a roofie. So if it doesn't fit within those simple two things, right? I guess the third one would be like, you were coerced, right? Someone literally had a gun to your head. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
or they were threatening you.
Or they're threatening like, okay, I'll do this to your family. Those situations, how often does that ever happen, right?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like we're talking about under normal circumstances that people find themselves in.
And that's a difficult thing. That's a difficult situation for a lot of people to be subjected to. Like, I get it, right? Because, like, being in an uncomfortable position or having to, justify a claim, it's difficult and it's uncomfortable. But when we're talking about something serious, it's going to, like, literally have lifelong repercussions for a person. That's kind of warranted, right?
Oh, it's needed.
I mean, like, it is needed. It is needed. And, like, I'm a big proponent of due process and everything else like that. And I can understand the frustration of when people have their minds made up and a ruling comes out contrary to what they believed was the truth. But when facts and evidence are either there to support the counter argument or the facts and evidence are not enough to support the claim, it is what it is. You can't then subvert, like, literal fucking generations of law, like, and process to get there. And, like, you get people that are going to argue that it was built on X system or Y system. It was built to favor men. It was built to favor white people, blah, blah, blah. And it's all excuses, really, because
absolutely.
I mean, much like the founding fathers of the United States built the Constitution to prevent what's happening now.
Correct.
Like, literally. But we've spent years undermining that process by adding amendments, by changing terms, by adding court rulings and making things more muddied than they originally were.
Well, one of the things that I preach is segregation, right? I'm a huge segregationist. And the reason I'm a segregationist, and I know people always say that's kind of ironic, a black guy being a segregationist. And I always tell people, Chris, if you were always getting accused of something, right? People who look like you get accused of, you can do no right? Everything you do is wrong. If that is true, wouldn't you wouldn't you just tell the other side, wouldn't it be better if you guys were segregated? Because now there's no more boogeyman, right?
You would think.
Because look, I actually, when I was in Colombia, I'm talking to my friend, and I told her that straight up. I said, unlike most people, I see the solution to the problem. I've always maintained this. When it comes to a problem solving, simplicity trumps complexity. Tell me the problem. Someone goes, Drexel, here's all the problems. You can give me 500 different little, all these gray areas, right? I go like this. So clearly the problem is that men and women are inhabiting the same space, right? In the workplace and schools. And because of that, you have all these other problems that stem from that, right? The teachers favoring girls and giving them grades. You're claiming that the boys are doing this. You're claiming all of these things, right? It's like, this is a simple fix. We're just going to permanently and immediately segregate you. See, but the moment you say that, do you know what people start saying, Chris? No, we don't. Because they know deep down they're full of shit, right?
Yeah.
Because now, Chris, I want you to imagine this, right? If let's just say the West in general, right? The West followed my take, which is segregation, right? I want you to imagine how that would look. Now, watch this. So we now live under Drexelism, right? Hey, Chris. The West now lives under Drexelism. So I want you to tell me, under Drexelism, how many sexual harassment claims have you heard from the workplace with men and women? If everyone's segregated, how many got filed?
It's a good question. I mean, it'd be hard
to
say.
Because remember, boys and girls don't go to school together. Because who do you blame now, right?
Yeah.
I've said the same thing about black people who blame white people for everything. I kid you not, Chris. There are some black people out there, man. I kid you not. If they were stapling papers, ow, shit, I just stapled my own fucking finger, they would blame a white man. Right? I shit you not. They will twist whatever, because remember what you said earlier about fitting a narrative, right?
Yeah.
It just needs, so they'll just keep on spinning until it fits their narrative, which is white man bad. So if you start off with white man bad, so that means no matter what white people do, it's always bad. So you just need to keep running your fucking mouth until you can get to your narrative, which is white man bad. If you're a guy out there who hates women, you'll sit there and keep twisting whatever you want until you get to the point where you say, see, yep, woman bad. Or same thing from the other side, right? Man bad. We live in a culture that pushes misandry, right? Open hatred of men and masculinity. So my thing is, if it's so bad, if men are so bad, they're the worst things ever. Oh my God, there's not one positive that comes out of someone who's born with a fucking penis. If that's true, And we're on these college campuses. We're in the workplace. Everywhere we go, we just need to segregate. Cress, you and I both know what would happen. All of a sudden, all the bullshit ends overnight, right? Think about it. Remember.
You would think. And then people would start getting mad over fucking hair color.
Oh, well, women would. Dudes don't. Dudes won't. I'm saying, look, think about it like this. Everyone knows the truth. If you put a bunch of women into a big ass mansion right now and it's a game show, right? How long before they start bitching? Be honest.
Well, generally it's like 3 days, 3 episodes or whatever.
If in real lifetime,
I mean, they did that
within
Big
12
Brother,
hours.
Really.
Yeah, right. Be honest. Within 12 hours, they're gonna start bitching about something, right?
Yeah.
Watch this. You have a big ass mansion. You threw a bunch of random dudes in the house. Are they gonna start bitching at each other? No.
Probably not until they have something to compete over.
What's the only thing guys really compete over? Women.
Yeah.
I mean, you could argue money, right? Resources, but at the same time,
resources.
But if it's a situation where you're just putting them in a mansion just to go just live, guys don't. And remember, and guy arguments are very different, right? It ends when it ends, right then and there. Mm-hmm. We have a beef, we talked it out, or we fought over it, and then it's over. It never gets brought up again. That's it. Done. That's why people always say you'll see guys fight each other and then they'll be friends in the same day drinking beers later that night, right?
Yeah.
Women have to hate each other forever to the end of fucking time, and then they have to ruin the other person's life. I'm gonna go on social media and say that this bitch did this. She eats babies in her spare time, like insane shit.
Well, and again that comes back down to like baked in behavior patterns. Mm-hmm. Like it's learned behavior. It's like. It's one of the unique things that I can say, being someone who's trans, that like transitioned from male to female, right? I've seen, like, grew up as male in that mm-hmm. culture, in that identity, and being introduced into like the sisterhood female culture thing. All of these different things that like women are just like, oh, well, you can't do this, you can't say this, and you can't react that way, or blah, blah, blah. It's such a weird way that women are just taught to live differently than men. Mm-hmm. And it's, I don't understand, like, I don't understand it because I've not been, indoctrinated in that way. But it's like, women are expected to be a certain degree of submissive and a certain degree of like, you just have to take it because that's the way it is, because every other woman has had to go through that. So you just have to do this. And then you come into the passive aggressive stuff. And then these are the ways that you retaliate.
I was going to say, yeah, because women don't retaliate against men the way men retaliate against men. When men have issues with men, we retaliate directly, right?
Yeah.
Women, it's always passive aggressive. Like that, like, think about it. That's why women will do the whole, like, I consent. 2 years later.
For now.
For now, right? For now, I consent. And then when you make me mad, all of a sudden now it was non-consensual.
Yeah.
And they don't understand. And so because women have this thing that they're born with called cognitive dissonance, they don't understand why guys don't want to fucking deal with them anymore. They're like, we don't understand. We got laws changed that say I can retract consent, and I don't understand why guys aren't approaching me anymore. Like, are you fucking serious? Like I kid you not. You can show women a basic concept, and go, don't you see why this is a problem? And they'll go, oh, do you see why, if this is a legal issue, why a guy's gonna go, whoa, wait a minute. So you're saying that now any woman can just retract consent. Well, I guess I'm not gonna deal with them. They'll sit there, they can literally listen to your point, see the flaw in the logic, and still support it.
Well, yeah, that's because I can easily kind of give groundwork as to why that happens. Comes down to the power struggle, right? Because like, if men are operating on logic, and logic is irrefutable with facts and everything else like that, and and the only power you have as a female is to be like, okay, well, if I can confound them and take away their power and make them question and do something illogical, and then make the rule of life illogical, then they don't have any more power. I have the
Correct.
power.
Correct. No,
So,
women are like they're very predictable. I've told you, I was like the reason why men have
most
always said
people are
women were
predictable.
so oh, yeah, right. Well, I've told guys. I said the reason why so many guys find women to be confounding is I said it's because they're projecting male qualities onto women. But like so to a guy, I bet you if I went to the gay community, I bet you there's not very much of the whole I retract consent in the gay community, right?
No.
I haven't ever heard. Like, I've heard it. I've heard everything. I've never heard that. I've never heard a guy say, "I hooked up with this dude at a gay club, and then 4 years later, after I heard he was a millionaire, I said that he did this to me." Doesn't happen.
No.
I've
heard of people like regretting going out and
Yeah, correct. I've heard regret, but it never involved the court, though. You see what I'm saying?
Never involved the court.
Oh, I got drunk and I hooked up with this dude, and then this happened. Okay, and then what'd you do? Yeah, I regret that. That was a stupid choice I made. There you go. See, it's all about accountability because women never have to be held accountable because they are coddled by society and by beta male simp cuck manginas. They can get away with anything. A dude cannot. Like a guy can't say retract consent. Absolutely,
learned behavior.
Well, you actually see this early on with even like when you look at the way dads treat daughters compared to sons, right?
Yeah.
Sons are held accountable from day one. At no point does if you're born with a dick, you don't get a pass at any point in life, but for fucking up. Like you don't get to just do something and it's okay. It's okay because you're a boy, right? It goes back to what I said about gym class. Have you ever heard a boy who gets an A by sitting in the corner talking with friends? Never. But a girl can.
For certain situations, yes, but other situations, no.
Which situation would you say guys get a pass?
Certain situations is basically the traditional, boys will be boys.
No, but that's not allowed anymore, right?
That's not allowed anymore, no.
Yeah, think about it. If I'm a boy in school and I'm 10 years old and I get into a fight with another boy over nothing, right? Or over who's the better Avenger, Iron Man or fucking Captain America, right? Because that's the kind of shit boys will actually fight over.
Yeah.
Because remember, young boys don't understand problem solving, right? It's a learned thing that they do over time. So that's why you'll notice with young boys, if you ever wonder what does boys will be boys mean? It's because boys don't know how to comprehend problem solving that way, right? So they just start fighting over it. So let's fast forward. When boys get older, they grow up into young men and then eventually men. The reason why, of course, obviously there's a legal system in place, but like dudes know what they're capable of. That's why guys don't fight. There's not that many fights that actually occur in the world, and I don't know if people actually know that, but like in a typical night, think about it. There's when before COVID, there was 1,000 different nightclubs and bars, and there's not as many fights as people think. For all the people that are out and about drinking, talking, laughing, not very many actual fights happen. You see what I'm saying?
No.
In comparison to the amount of people. So what that's telling you is that guys know. Now, if I were to ask you how many cat fights, as in bitches bitching, all day, every day, a scene with females. Seriously, have you ever talked to a bouncer, Chris? Who gives them the most problems?
Oh,
females.
Yeah. It's usually
it's the females. I know bouncers. They'll tell you. They go, it's the chicks.
Yeah.
So yes. Now
100%.
Will dudes do some dumb shit? And do you know what the crazy thing is? When you ask a bouncer, when it involves dudes, what is usually the culprit? A female. Come on, man.
Disputing something, yeah.
It's disputing some more of it. It's just like
yeah.
Segregation. Chris, segregation is the answer.
Oh my God.
People don't want to accept it, man. It's sad.
It is sad. I'm still of the mind though that even if we segregate by X, Y, or Z, we're still gonna find something. We're gonna have people that wear button-up shirts pissed off at people that wear T-shirts.
Of course,
it's just gonna be.
Well, yeah. Remember though, the only people who do that are gonna be the beta cuck simp manginas, and those aren't even humans anyway. So now remember, you always know what I've always said. I've always desired one thing and one thing only, which is an alpha society. And in an alpha society, there is law and order. In a beta society, that's why you have the court system dictating everything, right? So an alpha society is based primarily on logic and reason, right? It's the reason why, if you think back to 100 years ago, the thing that people used to always say was a simple thing, Chris. They would say, who started it? Do you remember when people used to say that back in the day? Who started it? Like it wasn't about he hit me, Chris. He hit me. Hold on. You're telling me this guy hit you for no fucking reason. You were walking through the hall and this guy just walked up to you and punched you in the nose and broke your nose. That's what you're telling. Yep, that's what happened. Mm-hmm. Chris, how long did it take for people to get to the bottom of the story? The bullshit. You remember that shit? You remember back in the day, like in the 80s and 90s? Yeah. Who started? And people would sit down and they listen. What did he do? Oh, well, he talked about my mom last week. Then he farted in my face in music class before I got my trumpet or whatever, right? And then you go and look at the person who was lying the whole time and go, is that true? Yeah. And we have 18 other people that can confirm that this person's telling the truth. So the reason why, so what happened is you said you were going to do something with him, to him. And he said, next time I see you in the hall, I'll punch you in the fucking face. Right?
Yeah.
And then he actually saw you in the hall and punched you in the fucking face.
Exactly.
Only after you did this long list of things to him to provoke him. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So in an alpha society, they don't punish the person who punched the person in the face. They punish the person who was the instigator.
Yeah.
So now you learn responsibility. You know what the person learns? I'm not allowed to just walk around saying whatever I want to say to people, right? I'm held accountable for what I say and do. Now going forward, that same person, after apologizing to the person, realizes next time they have an argument with somebody, it just stays as an argument between that person and that topic, right?
Exactly.
You don't get personal. You don't start, because you start putting your hands on people, you don't know how they're going to react.
No, exactly.
You hear these horrible stories about people going, all right, Chris, I got something for you in the car. Anytime someone goes to the car, whatever comes out is going to be bad, man. Whatever happens if you ever see someone, Chris, do you know what I miss? I miss the crazy guy head nod. Don't you miss that shit? All right, okay.
Exactly what you're talking about.
And you see him walk to the car, you're thinking, this can't end well, man. Whatever they're going to come back with, whether it's a hatchet,
There's
gun,
a foreign object being introduced.
Foreign object is not going to end well for anybody. Because you can kind of see people what the head nod is. Yeah. Do you remember in those old Looney Tunes cartoons? They would have a devil version and an angel version on each shoulder.
Yeah.
It's almost like the head nod represents they finally succumb to the devil on their shoulder, right? So the whole time the devil's going, just kill this motherfucker, man. Chris, kill him. and then the whole time, no, man, I ain't gonna do that. And at some point, idiot one says enough stuff to make person B idiot number two, right? To risk their freedom. And that's when they start listening to that devil on their shoulders saying, yeah, man, let's just go to the trunk. Let's just get this hatchet. Yeah, I got stuff for you. Mm-hmm. And then they go back to the trunk. Look, Elliot Rodgers style, right?
Yeah.
Elliot Rodgers goes on his incel killing spree because he listened to the dark forces, right? All he had to do was go to take responsibility.
Those people that just they just finally hit that thing, and they're like, you know what? The repercussions outweigh what I'm about to do. So It's just yeah.
Do you remember in the movie Deadpool when he goes under that experiment and the guy goes, so you finally did it. You finally reached fuck it. Yeah. And I remember laughing at that line because to some people that was just a line, right?
Yeah.
I think that line can be used in a lot of different contexts. When you see somebody doing something completely insane, when you're like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? The reason why you're asking that fucking stupid asinine question is because you aren't them. Exactly. They reached fuck it, which is what you just said, right? They don't care about repercussions anymore, right?
Yeah.
So the retribution is more powerful to them and more rewarding to them than whatever's going to happen.
Exactly.
I don't care about going to jail. I don't care if I die. I don't care if blank, blank, blank. I don't care if I'm known as a serial killer. They don't care. That's a scary place to be in a society.
That is a very scary place to be.
I just reached fuck it. What? Do you ever notice, Chris? It's always got to be some indiscriminate killing. You ever notice that shit?
Yeah.
It starts off with like something personal. Like, I'm gonna go after my roommates because I hate them because they personify what I can't obtain. Right?
Yeah.
After that, you just gotta. No, I'm just gonna start killing you. I'm just gonna start shooting anybody. It's like, bruh, are you serious? Like this random person that has nothing to do with anything you're talking about? Like, oh shit.
Have you heard about the Killdozer?
I did. I can't remember who told me about that, but I just remember thinking like, Is this what it's come to? Yep. That's what it's come to.
That's an incredible story.
But think about it. You had to reach it though, right?
He reached it.
He reached fuck it, right? Fuck it.
He welded himself into a fucking bulldozer.
Yep. And just said fuck it. He
said fuck it.
And think about it, like, you're going to be forever known as Killdozer, right?
Yeah.
That's going to be your legacy. When someone says, were you a good father or husband, or you're Killdozer. You're that guy.
Killdozer. You were
that's you. That's your legacy, right? Well, in this case, you're infamous, not famous. And that's what you keep seeing more and more of in society, is people are just starting to say fuck it. Now, the problem is that let's look at the Capitol riot, right? Mm-hmm. Some of these people reached fuck it until the angel on their shoulder told them, "Hey, I know you reached fuck it, but yeah, you're facing some charges." And they're like, "Trump, pardon me." Fuck. There's consequences?
They reached fuck it until they hit reality.
Until they hit reality, right? Like, what do you mean I'm losing my job? What do you mean I'm facing prison time? Now, I'm not okay with that, only because, of course, my issue is the double standard.
Yeah.
While shit was burning all summer and getting destroyed, that was okay, right?
Oh, I never. So for me, I never said it was okay. I always.
No. I'm saying just. I'm just saying, like from the general, like the mainstream standpoint, like it was 100%. Okay to topple monuments. Peaceful. Yeah, people were burning shit up all summer, summer.
Peaceful fires.
Yeah, peaceful fires, and then all of a sudden, one little thing happens at the Capitol, and it's like, oh, these people are bad. It's like, no one sees how. Yeah, it's an insurrection. It's like no one sees the fucking hypocrisy. No, okay, well, I guess fuck it. and that's how you stop caring. You're just like, what it is, what it is. Like, because Cress, what's going to happen is when people finally get their socialist utopia, they're going to think it's great for like a month.
Well, it's going to turn into a Animal Farm.
Right? Well, what's wild is I'm out in Colombia, and I'm going to talk about this on my show tomorrow. I'll tell you what's crazy. I go over there. The amount of Venezuelan whores would shock you. Cress, when I tell you they come out at night, I mean they really come out. I should have taken video of it. It was that bad, man. It was that bad. Like, so here's what happens. You're walking through the streets of Medellin, right? It's like any other, busy Latin American city, right? Okay, yeah, whatever. Overcrowded because it's like, 2 fucking lanes with 2.5 million people. Let that make sense. And at some point, you start to see it. Damn, Chris, what is that? I look over. Oh, that's the sun going down. Huh. I wonder what happens when the sun goes down here.
All the werewolves start
All the creatures of the night. I mean, Cress, when I tell you they show up in full force. And I'm looking around like,
there's SWAT trucks with prostitutes pouring out.
Yeah, for real. They come out like the damn A-team, just coming out of vans and shit. So I'm looking around. I'm like, Jesus! Like I kid you not. I was just up and down that street earlier that day. Nothing. Like it was like some dudes just kind of sitting around loitering or eating or ask you to buy something.
Right.
All of a sudden you turn around and you're like, it's nighttime. What the fuck? It's nothing but Venezuelan whores. It's like, wow, that escalated quickly. And I'm very harsh on Venezuela because I always tell people, I go, that's what they wanted, right? They wanted socialism. How'd that work out for them? Oh shit, we got to flee to somewhere else that's not socialist. Because you're going to lose all your rights, you're going to lose all your rights, your civil liberties, and your economy will collapse.
Yeah.
Because socialism, as an economic model, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
No. It can't work. Because when the government tells private businesses what to do, they just leave.
Yeah, they just go to somewhere else.
They just go somewhere. Oh, wait. Hold on, Chris. You're the government? You're telling me I have to give my shit away? How about this? How about I just pack up and fucking leave? And they do.
How about we just go to China?
We'll just go to China. We'll go over here. We'll go to any country other than you. And when that happens, and then they take the jobs with them, and then that all that revenue, someone goes, okay, so what's the long-term repercussion of that? Well, if enough companies do that, someone goes, what jobs are there here? What industry is here? Bananas?
OnlyFans.
OnlyFans? Mining shit in World of Warcraft? Like, you have no economies. So eventually,
I
the
don't know if you
government
know
starts
about this one,
printing money.
Drexel.
Oh, what's
I don't
that?
know if you know about this revenue stream. There is a service out there where you can rent a gamer girl to play video games with you.
That's what it's come to.
It's a legitimate thing.
It's come to that, though, seriously.
It
You
has,
rent
yes.
a gamer girl?
Rent a gamer girl.
Wow.
And the same website has it so that you can rent a gamer guy to like carry you through games.
Wait, so that begs the question. Who's actually purchasing this shit?
I have no clue. I mean, like, you know, the people that have more money than they do anything else in life, but there's enough of a market, apparently.
I guess. You know, deep down, you kind of want to know, though. Like when you hear these federal governments, you know, needlessly spending money on random shit that no one cares about, you're kind of like, why are they spending money on that? Well, they could spend money on finding out who these clients are. Because I want to know.
Right?
So I can mock them daily. What the fuck are you doing? Like, is it Chris? We need to bring shame back, right?
We do.
There needs to be shame. You should look, man.
I'm gonna find this website for you so you can
That's
look it up.
fucking pitiful. Oh, by the way, the name of that douchebag, I found him. His name is Charlie Zelenoff. I'll have to send it to you. The troll who went after Deontay Wilder and got his ass fucking beat down.
So, okay. There's epal.gg. I don't know if that's the one I'm looking for. There's legitimately a website where you can go on and like you can list yourself or you can look up people and you can rent like you can rent a gamer girl.
Jesus. But see, you know, that's my thing though, is that I can't ever be mad at them, right? Is at the end of the night, remember, the problem is always going to be the clients, right? It's like someone standing outside screaming at the top of their lungs.
Epal.gg.
Epal. Well, you know, though, I can't say anything because I don't know if you've heard about this, but in Japan, they have fucking cuddle bars.
Oh, yes, they do.
Where you pay to get the boyfriend or girlfriend experience up to cuddle. That's how desperate they are for like just human interaction.
$10 a game, by the way. Some people are charging $16 a game.
You know, good for them. Good for them. I'm all about free market capitalism, so good for them. Because here's the thing, it's like someone said, it's like the guy who came up with Pet Rock, right? You can't be mad at him.
Can't be mad at him.
Like,
no.
It's like, who bought Pet Rock? Who went to the store and was like, oh, my kid's gonna love this fucking rock that I just paid money for that I could have gotten outside for free. Like, you can't be mad at the guy who's pushing Pet Rock, right? Look, listen. I'm not mad at diamond vendors, right? Diamonds are fucking worthless. They're worthless.
They're only worth what people want to pay for them.
Correct. So when people say this is a priceless diamond, Chris, no, it's not. It's literally worthless. So how did diamonds end up being worth so much? Because of marketing.
Oh yeah.
They told people, they convinced a public, Chris, she's worth it. She's worth this $15,000. I ain't buying these bitches shit. Not a motherfucking thing, Chris.
When you have like warlords over in North Africa, you know, using child labor to mine for these diamonds, and then
it's because you gave it value, right? Like so they weren't doing this 1,000 years ago, right?
No, definitely.
Once you started having companies advertise Zales and K Jeweler and this bullshit, and they started convincing people since that'd be like a turn of the 20th century is when you start really seeing that whole push for engagement ring, wedding ring. None of this stuff. This is all new. A lot of people don't understand that. This is all new shit. They think that this is like, this has always been like this, Drexel. No, it hasn't. It was these marketing companies who got together and convinced the public, because the public is fucking stupid.
Oh yeah.
Cress, do you know how you can tell her that you really care? Buy my ring. A fucking worthless rock. That's equivalent. It's equivalent. Is it not the equivalent of pet rock?
It is. I mean,
think about it. What
like
is
an adult pet rock?
It's pet rock for adults, for gullible adults. I mine this shiny piece of shit that means literally nothing, right? I mean, do you know how you know a diamond is worthless? I want you to imagine this, Chris. Total societal collapse, right?
Mm-hmm.
Boom. On a global scale. Someone walks up to you and says, Chris, I'll trade you this flawless diamond for that 6 bags of rice and 2 pounds of meat you have. What are you going to tell them?
Yeah, they'd shove it.
Fuck you. What the fuck am I going to do with that rock? It's useless.
Can't eat it.
I can't eat it. I can't do it. It doesn't build fires. It doesn't protect my home. It doesn't do shit.
No.
Yet there people are going to the store. I'm gonna show that I really love her. I'm gonna buy her this big rock. Listen, I would buy that bitch a ring pop. Okay, something she can suck. And based on how well she sucks, you need to know, is she a wife that's gonna learn how to succeed? You see what I'm saying? Fuck out of here. I wish I would buy a bitch a fucking diamond ring. Fuck out of here. Nope.
Oh my God.
Nothing. Chris, remember what I said? There needs to be shame. If you get on one knee, you need to be shamed by society. Why did you get on one knee? To do what? To serve her? Because, so Chris, do you know when you're on your knees, you're serving. You're in a servitude position, right? So why is a man on his fucking knees? Asking for what? Will you please be my wife?
Marriage has changed from what it traditionally used to be. And it's more or less just like it's just the tradition of like fealty, right? Wasn't
it? To me, it was always nothing more than what it is at its core, which is one of the oldest forms of prostitution. Marriage at its core is prostitution. The man is exchanging resources for the woman's sex. The sex just happens to bring forth kids and other things, right? I mean, because think about it. Okay, before women enter the workforce, when guys were out there, I want to get married, and women wanted to get married, blah blah blah, and people thought it was so cool. And it's the backbone of society, is it though? Because I mean, isn't it just prostitution?
I mean, it used to be like give security between two clans or two families.
Yep.
But now it's just more of just a
social
government
it's a government like it's a government business, right? It's a government sponsored business on both ends, the marriage industry and the divorce industry, right? The inevitable the very inevitable divorce industry. That's why you end up looking like Dr. Dre paying this bitch $2 million a month. $2 million, Crest. Did you hear about that?
That's insane.
Dr. Dre is paying his soon-to-be ex-wife, what was her name? Andre Young, and I forgot what the fucking broad's name is. But so this is temporary support, right? So, there'll be a final judgment. The fucker just had a brain aneurysm. But you're paying her $2 million a month. What value does she offer you over the course of those years to warrant $2 million a month? Listen, at some point, Chris, someone's going to learn what I learned. O.J. Simpson was an innovator. An innovator. At some point,
he's
a free man. He ain't paying no alimony right now. Ask OJ how much money he's paying in alimony. He'll laugh in your fucking face. Alimony? I'll tell you what I'm paying. Next. $0. You next with the knife emoji, right? OJ's winning, man. This dude escaped a 33-year prison sentence. First of all, I gotta say something though, Chris. What the fuck was OJ doing? How did you beat a murder rap, but you end up going to prison over some damn football cards and memorabilia?
Because he went and fucking
that's
stole it.
That's the stupidest shit I'd ever like. If someone had that like in a movie, you would say this movie's too unrealistic, right?
Yeah.
No one beats a murder rap. Wait, hold on, a double murder rap, but ends up in jail, in prison over
Fucking beats it.
over some fucking football cards, a old jock strap, a old trophy. Like, you're in prison for that, but you beat a double homicide
Exactly.
as a black man with white victims. Come on, man.
It's like this. Like a man thought he was fucking invincible. I think
He had to.
just like,
Well, you know, when he stole cable before that, I bet you OJ woke up every day of his life like, I can do anything.
yeah,
Because he kept getting away with it. He's like, oh, damn, he just kept pushing the envelope. And so, like, you remember the video of him going to that Vegas casino, right? I'm going to go get my shit back.
yeah.
So in his mind, he hired his goons and thought, I'm just going to go take shit. Once he had to suffer consequences, like, what the fuck?
He had that Capitol Hill moment.
Yeah, right. He had that moment. Like, wait, what do you mean I'm going to prison for some football cards? A trophy? Look, you know what he should have said? He should be like, but I mean, I allegedly killed 2 people. I didn't go to jail. You always have to throw in that allegedly, right? You can't ever say you did it. You got exactly. I allegedly did it.
Allegedly did it.
And then he had to write that book. If I did it, come on, man. These guys are
if I did it,
clowns. Clowns. Hey, Chris, this is the problem. There's no shame.
No, there's no shame.
Society doesn't say, OJ, what are you doing? Stop. You need to lay low till the end of time. If you beat a double homicide as a black guy, no one should ever see you for the rest of your life. That's better than the lottery. I mean, every day OJ woke up, he should have had a hard dick. He should have had morning wood for life. No Viagra, right? He should just woke up like, I'm a free black man after being alleged to kill 2 white people.
Yeah.
Shit. Damn. I can't stop stroking myself. That's what he should have said, man.
He should have commissioned a fucking fifth face on Mount Rushmore.
He should have. He did more than all the other 4 combined. Okay, so you ended a war. Okay, yeah, you helped found a nation. Blah blah. What does that mean, really? Nothing. You didn't beat a double fucking homicide as a black man in the 90s with white victims.
Exactly.
Fucking
in a white court.
In a with a black lawyer as the star of your fucking defense team.
Unreal.
From a prosecutor, though. But it's like, oh, Chris, this is where we're at in society. But you know what, though? I don't know about you, but I welcome the fuckery. Like, did you hear about, there's that article? There's been a few content creators in the manosphere have talked about the amount of these ladies talking about how they can't make money on OnlyFans, right?
Yeah.
No one saw that coming, right? Nobody. Chris, I didn't see it coming. I didn't see that when women lost their jobs during the pandemic and the fact that they don't actually contribute anything anyway, that they would all run to OnlyFans, and that the basic rule of economics is supply and demand. Surely that 30 million new subscriptions or account openings from March to April, yeah, that was last year, right? 30 million new accounts got opened.
Good Lord.
So surely, Chris, you're as shocked as I am that almost none of these women are making any money, right? I mean, aren't you shocked?
That's ridiculous.
I mean, Chris, let's face it. What kind of a sick person, sick man would want to pay for a post-wall, fat, cellulite bitch, her fucking foot pics and boobs, right? Monthly subscription. When he can just go on right now and go look on Pornhub or X videos and he can go stroke one out looking at whatever for free, right?
Well, I mean, like I wouldn't pay for porn to begin with.
No sane person does. I'm so shocked when I see people out there like get my access to my exclusive content. Why? Right? Like, is that the question that everyone asks? Why? Why though?
Like, exclusive to you and like the fucking 1,000 other people that are going to be subscribing to it.
And I'm thinking to myself, like, you know what I truly believe it's boiled down to? I think it's boiled down to similar to what you're talking about that service, right?
Yeah.
Just like in Japan, I believe that as a society, it's gotten to a point that everything is so disconnected that people just want to feel something of a connection, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, think about who do you think is the OnlyFans clients, right? The Johns. They want access to go like this. Belle Delphine cares about me. She made these pics exclusive to me. I told her to wear these pink Pikachu socks or something, and I don't know, a squirt lotion on her face to emulate something. But she did it for me. I'm special.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I give her $50 a month. Like, really, bro?
Like, seriously?
Really?
Yeah.
Like, but it starts to make sense. Like, you know, you think about it, because it's like, if porn is free, why would think about it, Chris. You could actually psychoanalyze these people. If porn is free, why would you be paying? The only explanation would be they have to want something more than just looking at XXX images.
Yeah.
It
they
has
want
to
that interaction.
The interaction to fulfill a need.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't have anyone in my life, so if I just pay her money, you're paying a bitch money. Are you serious?
Well, they literally just take that money and go out and get a physical person for that.
Yep. Oh, you know what's crazy is that it's like, you look at the amount of money that these people spend, because, you know, Belle Delphine makes millions, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
And it's like, but I get it. You're a monkey simp, but at some point, don't you think to yourself, wouldn't it be more beneficial if I just like hired the real thing, or got a doll, right? Like, call Dollhouse Phil and get a Belle Delphine doll. Because I mean, think about it. Wouldn't you argue that's a better investment rather than just, because that's sunken cost, right? Paying Belle Delphine. I mean, you know, I heard that there's like a tier list, so it's like, you know, $50, $100. So if you're, let's say you give her $100
way up to like $1,500, I think.
Yeah, to get all these private pics and videos. So it's like, if you're paying Belle Delphine $1,500 a month, but why though?
That's a great question.
Fuck, like Belle Delphine, like, listen. So, Chris, here's the thing. Like, I'm that kind of guy who goes like this. You shouldn't be doing it for anybody, but if you had to do it for somebody, it should be someone who's not Belle Delphine.
Right? Seriously.
Like, seriously? Like, Belle Delphine, like, when I first heard of who Belle Delphine was, I'm like, who? And then I saw it, I'm like, someone's giving this broad money? Okay, why? Did you ask that same question? Like so, Chris, that was the biggest why since the Kim Kardashian sex tape, right?
Yeah.
During the Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee sex tape, remember that was a big scandal, right? And the question came to you then, right? Why? Why is this a big deal? This is terrible.
Well,
the Kim Kardashian sex tape,
one movie. It's like that one movie, right? It's like the quote from that one movie. It's like, "What are our tits made of? Cotton candy?" Like, why does everybody want her so much?
Why? Yeah. Why is this like? I can't tell you how many times that someone has told me about someone, right? And I'm like, who? And then I finally see who the person is. I'm like, wait, why is there a fuss over this? Like, here's the thing. I said that about Among Us, right?
Yeah.
I heard there was this huge thing. It's called Among Us. I'm like, who? What? And then I saw, I was like, this is it.
And the funny thing is Among Us has been out for like fucking 6 years.
Yeah, it's an old game. And it just caught on. Caught on. It's all it takes.
Like a big streamer just played it once, and everyone's like, oh my God, I got to play this game now.
Well, you know, imagine being the developer. I still think that's a great success story, right?
Oh yeah.
Imagine you and I make a game, right? We put it out in 2018. It comes and goes without much of fanfare, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're just out working our regular jobs. All right, Chris, you know, catch you at work. And then one day we start getting bombarded with all this shit. We're like, the fuck is this? And all of a sudden, that nothing game that we made 3 years ago suddenly has 50 million downloads, and she's like, wait, what happened?
Exactly.
And people are put in new content. Huh? You mean that shit that we worked on that got no noise when it came out? Like, that's got to be great for the developers. Because
well, I mean, that's the shit with the online thing right now, though. I mean, it's the same thing with YouTubers, with Twitch streamers.
Yep.
I mean, just look at Doug TenNapel, for example. The man had fucking 30K followers, like 24K followers for like years.
Yep.
And then he starts covering the U.S. election and starts making clickbait videos about Trump. Now he's up to 500,000.
Yip.
In in just over a week.
Yeah, I remember Nick was telling me that, and I just couldn't help but laugh. I'm like, you know what? If that's what people, if that's what they want, I mean, because it's like if I'm in Doug's shoes, it's like, why not, right?
Exactly. Why?
Like you said, clickbait. You get the right thumbnail.
Yeah.
A quick hit, 3-minute video of screaming about something about Trump. And if it's going to get me 500,000 views, sure. Why not?
Exactly. Like it's insane. And it's like, and I mean, I'm happy for him because he's getting success off it.
Yeah, yeah. Look, you'll never hear me. I'll never knock a content creator. Like I said, even Belle Delphine. I always give Belle Delphine props because I'm like, hey, I mean, if you're doing something and there's an audience that wants to pay you that kind of money, sure, go ahead.
Yeah.
Why not? Why not? I mean, obviously, it's going to ruin her life later because
Oh yeah, for sure.
But who cares about later? Who cares?
Oh my goodness.
And it's kind of unfortunate. That's the society we live in, right? Like
It's
everyone's
true.
like right now. Crest, it's about right now. It's like this is really
right
gonna
now.
fuck you up later because I mean, in terms of you've seen those really pitiful videos of like life after porn, right?
Oh yeah.
Are those not like the most like because you're kind of like looking at them like, what did you think was gonna happen, right? Like, and then everyone just looks at me as a fucking whore. I can't date. I can't get a job. What did you think was gonna happen?
When you think, yeah, exactly. I mean, that's why you get what you get when you get it, and then you plan
when
for
you
later.
when you were doing triple anal scenes at 20 years old, you probably should have thought
Right.
it doesn't go up from here.
No.
Okay, like I'm not gonna leave this behind. Like who's that? Sasha Grey tried to go into mainstream acting. That didn't work.
Oh my god.
Now she's like doing like a cooking thing. Mia Khalifa. They just become grifters, right? and you know what's funny about all these broads? This is the reason why I don't take any of them seriously. So, Chris, they always talk about how was it Brie Olson, Mia Khalifa? They always talk about how harmful their porn career was, right, to their life. But let me ask you this simple question, Chris. Every time you see them after their porn career, true or false, they always go by their porn name.
Well, yeah, they always go by their brand, right?
Their brand, right? Like, okay, so Mia Khalifa, how come you still go by Mia Khalifa? Everyone knows that name associated with porn.
Exactly.
And here you are as Mia Khalifa. Like, okay, so clearly what you're really mad at is that you couldn't monetize it as much as you wanted to, and you didn't get the same level of fame and kickback. So in order to try to do that now, to try to make up for the lost money that you didn't get, you still use the Mia Khalifa name and branding to try to get in the same simps that you had back when, right?
Exactly.
Come on, man. Use your real name or use a new alias. You want to tap into it. Oh, what's Mia Khalifa's doing baking shows now? I wonder if she's going to do something sexy with it. And you look at how they dress, right?
Exactly.
These people none of them are serious. None of them are serious. And yet, Crest, people take them seriously still in 2021. That's what we've come down to as a society, Crest.
Oh, I know. Oh, I know. So before we end the show, because we're heading on almost 2.5 hours.
Oh shit!
Before we head up to the end of the show, you were saying that you wanted to grill me on something. Did you already do it, or
it's not even a real grill. It's a topic that we broached before, but I want to add more context to it because I did the 12 Days of Thoughtmas on my channel, right?
Okay.
And I don't know if you ever listened to the very last day of Thoughtmas, which was the infamous Thad story, right? And in the Thad story, I talked about what happened to me when I went to Thad's Swing Club in San Diego, and it ends up I had an encounter with a trans person. Allegedly, right? This is all that alleged shit where someone's like, we can't confirm 100%, but we think Cynthia was once a dude. Now, Chris, I want to get your elongated take about what do you feel about the trans community and the obligation / responsibility of the trans community to disclose if there is an issue of sex change or any of that kind of stuff, right? Like, what is your take on that? When they try to I always like to say like the term double dip, like when a trans, like I said, we're just going to use like from the heterosexual male perspective. When a straight dude is at a swing club or anywhere at a bar, wherever, what do you feel is the responsibility of the trans community in terms of their approaching straight guys and expecting straight guys to be okay with being with a trans person? I want your take on that.
That's It's a good question, and it depends on where they are in their transition, in my opinion. I mean, if they have gone through all of the procedures and you yourself can't tell, I mean, I don't really think that that's an issue unless you're planning on having children, and that's a conversation you probably should have. But if you're just out for a good time, what have you, I don't really see it being an issue. But if you do have hardware where there was unexpected hardware, that's probably a conversation that needs to happen before anything comes up.
All right.
In my opinion.
Well, Chris, here's what I'll say to that, though. Okay, do you remember earlier we were talking about how no one seems to care about the person who got falsely accused, right?
Yeah.
In your logic, there seems to be a lack of empathy for the straight guy who says, hey, man, I'm into women, as in like natural born women, right? So now you could always blame the surgeons for being good at their jobs, right? But if you ask any straight dude, what is their greatest fear? It's always that they got, I was out in Thailand, I ended up getting with someone who turned out to be a dude. The psychological damage.
Here's the thing, though. There's two sides to this, right? There's the looking at trans women as being men, which is not necessarily correct, and looking at it in the sense that, okay, well, when you look at it, trans women are women from the definition of like the mental standpoint, right? Mentally, trans women are just like regular women. They just have different body parts. And some people go through the process to get those body parts fixed. Some people don't. To each their own. So if a man's hooking up with a trans woman who has 100% transitioned over, doesn't have any twig and berries anymore, etc., you're effectively with a woman. Like, outside of a potentially DNA test or medical history check, you're never going to know. And for all intents and purposes, you're getting everything you would with a woman anyways. So there is not really, from that point, a betrayal of trust, because that is just the completion of that. Now, in the same sense, because I've known a couple individuals that have had this, where they were born with both sets of parts, and their parents decided to make them one thing or the other. You can say the same thing with that too. Like, I mean, they grew up one way, blah 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 blah, and what have you. But the thing is, it comes down to the individual. Number one, if the person is afraid of being with another man, two parts to that. Number one, they have to look at what are they afraid of. If they're afraid of their own feelings or what have you, or if they're just, or if they just don't want to be with another penis. If it's the fact that they don't want to be with another penis and they're with a trans woman that doesn't have a penis, problem solved. My opinion.
Your opinion.
So it's like, it's just one of those things. It's like, if they're really, really, really afraid of just like pulling the pants down and then having a dick bigger than theirs in their face, then I understand that, because that's a betrayal of trust. But it's like, if you're looking down and it's like, okay, well, surgeon did a good job or surgeon didn't do a good job, what have you. Sometimes you can't even tell because, it's a mess down there anyway. But at the end of the day, if you're going there to smash, if you're going there to smash a vagina and you see a vagina, mission accomplished. Right?
See, so the only issue with that I've always said is this. It's like, the people who have that viewpoint, there are, everyone has their own preferences, X, Y, and Z, right? And if someone says, what I prefer is a natural born woman, right? As in, she was born a woman with female reproductive, and that's the big thing, female reproductive parts, right? As in, she can have children. Now, obviously, there are women out there who are infertile, right? Even though they're born female, 100%. Blah blah blah. But if a guy says, I want natural born women, right? That's like his let's just say that's his starting point, right? Like, hey, natural born women, and after that he picks what physical features he likes, like blonde, brunette, whatever, right? One of the things that is always been kind of like bothersome to me about the trans community is that I think that anytime you have any form of deception, and to be honest, you could say this about the straight community, right? Where if someone's lying about whatever, right? Like, people lie about all kinds of things, right? Whether it be their sexual health, their, obviously, there's different things you can lie about when you are, online or if you're in person. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's different levels to deception, right? But we're just talking about when you're actually physically in the same space. So this is not online space. You're physically there. And I think people have a right to know something that would affect their choice. And the reason why I say that is because
you're adding qualifiers onto your original question, though.
Oh yeah, I'm just giving a perspective, from the guy's perspective, and you actually see this from women too, because there's a Canadian who took her own life, and that porn star was August Ames, right?
Yeah.
And there are people out there who were very critical of her, which is one reason why, of course, with her own other mental issues, she ended up taking her own life. But I was like, she has every right to say, I don't want to work with male talent who double dips, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because at the end of the day, when someone says, my body, my choice, and, people always want to spout that out, but but yet when someone exercises it, you remember, earlier we were talking about agendas, right?
Yeah.
They're like, well, no, you just have to accept whatever. It's like this. Look, my thing is this. If someone says, hey, Drex, who would you smash? August Ames or someone who looks exactly like August Ames but was born a dude? I want August Ames, like the real version, right? That's just me. Just like we say, my body, my choice, because let's face it. If someone walked up to you and said, hey, Cress, you should accept this person. You should be okay with it, whether they disclose something or not. It's like there may be something about someone that you want to be with that you go like this. If they're into blank, 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 that's not my type of person, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And it could be whatever. Like it could be someone, like if someone says, hey, Cress, you're not into people who do hard drugs. And you could say, well, hey, Cress, when this person was with you that night, they weren't doing any hard drugs. It's like, yeah, but if that's one of your rules that you don't want to deal with people who do hard drugs, that's a qualifier, right? You should be allowed to know that going in. You see what I'm saying?
No,
for
exactly.
a variety of reasons.
And what I was saying is, like, you're adding layers on the original question, so I'll add on to my answer, is that you need to communicate it. Yep. Right? If you're going into a club or you're going into a situation with the sole intent to just smash and run, right? You don't have anything, and you don't communicate anything, then it doesn't really matter, right? I mean, like, obviously, if there's a penis involved, then you probably don't want to be involved with that. But if you're dealing with a trans woman and she's got the operation and everything looks perfectly fine, and you're just doing it for the sake of smashing, I don't think there's really an issue there. But when you're talking about if you want to have a relationship with that person, if you want to have like children, if you want to have that's probably a conversation you need to have before you get to that point. But also, if you are like 100%, I do not want to be with a trans person at all, that should be something that you mentioned straight up as well. Like as a person, as for myself, like going and dating people, I put the stuff out that's like deal breakers on the table right out off the bat. I don't wait until I've slept with them to tell them about it. But it's like if you're with somebody and be like, look, I want to be with a naturally born woman, that's fine. Like, and then if they're dishonest about that, then that's a problem. But if you don't communicate that, it's about communication, really. If you don't communicate that beforehand, then it's really on you at that point.
Agreed. I really did have an issue with just the idea that, because like I said, when August Ames, and she's not the only one. I think Nikki Benz is also a Canadian, if I recall, right? And Nikki Benz is another porn star who she was on an interview on Vlad TV with Lexington Steele. And she said the same thing. She said, I agree. She said, I won't work with male talent who double dips and does gay porn, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so you remember, preferences are preferences, right? Like when someone has like their absolutes. So like ironically enough, as I've always said, as I said, the biggest ally to the straight male community is the trans community. And I think that one of the gaps that needs to get bridged is that like there has to be an open line of communication of, Cress, look, here's the deal. We need to work together because you remember, feminists hate you. You know that.
Oh yeah.
Feminists hate me. They hate cis white males even more than they hate the cis black male. But at the end of the day, we're both hated. We're just at opposite ends of the so-called spectrum, right? The whole, who's more oppressed, right? The oppression Olympics. Now, that being said, I think that there has to be a point where both sides go like this. Like like I said, I told you this before, Chris. There has to be a truce, right?
Yeah.
There has to be a truce where trans women can go like this. Like I said, I'm not talking about you. I'm just saying from what I've seen lots of trans women who are into men who like women, right? Like I've seen a lot of trans women who say they don't want to be with dudes who like dudes. You see what I'm saying?
Well,
they say
let's pause for a moment. That would require most trans women to actually be attracted to men to begin with.
Correct. Right? And remember, everyone's attracted to different things.
Right now, that's not the norm.
Yeah.
A lot of trans women
are attracted to women.
Are attracted to
women. Other trans.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is this: whatever someone's attracted to, like I said, you remember what we said earlier, communication, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wherever we're at, like both sides need like this, like I said. The reason why it was an issue for me is because here I am in the club for a purpose, right? Hulk smash. Mm-hmm. If people who understand, like, my sexuality, natural born women, period, right?
Yeah.
Where my issue came was not even so much the trans chick. That to me was lame on her part, right? But what was even lamer was that the people who were there, that here they are, they've already seen me before. The moment she walked in, where I stand. You should be like this. Like I said, you should have pulled me aside, like, yo, Drex. The moment she walked in, you should have been like this. Hey, we don't know for sure, but you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
we heard
if people
this.
know that stuff, they should communicate it.
Yeah, you have to communicate because it's not fair. Like prime example, to kind of go on your point. What if you are August Ames' agent and you were fully aware that there is a guy who's going to do some male talent who's going to do a scene with August Ames, and you know that he's double dipped, right? She doesn't know, but you know. And you know her rule. Wouldn't you feel like you are obligated as her agent or anyone who knows her to tell her, hey, because of the rule that I know that you have, that you don't work with male talent who double dips, this guy double dips, right?
Well, that comes down to respect.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Because I'm just saying, that's my thing, Chris. Like people can say whatever they want. I go, if someone has a certain prerequisite or they a discriminating factor, you should be respecting that person's preference, right? Like because I would respect yours. Like if someone said, "Hey, Chris, what are you into?" If I knew something about that you were not looking for, and let's say you were talking to somebody, and I'm like, "Hey, Chris seems kind of into that person." Well, let me just let them know. I'll let Chris know. Like I said, whatever is something that is a disqualifier, I would let you know. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, because I
wouldn't let you just go in blindly. Like, yeah, because to me that's very disingenuous. That I would let you into a situation, and then you find out later, or whatever the case may be. But because that's not fair to you. Because then, what you would say to me? Well, Drex, what the fuck? You knew something you didn't. You knew how I feel about this, and you didn't tell me.
Yeah.
Yes, that was my main issue with that. Like I said, it wasn't like a beef or anything. It was just like a simple I just want to get someone from who's on that side of the spectrum in terms of men, women, trans people, whatever. Just getting kind of like that take, because like I said, I felt that's very disingenuous. Like I said, if you are trans, you should be telling, because let's face it, you've heard those stories about trans people getting beaten up, right, or killed.
Oh yeah.
Well, do you believe that at least half, if not far more, could have been avoided if early on during those conversations, right, when they were at the bar or the club or whatever, they had just said it outright, right?
It depends on the situation. Sometimes people they just don't listen or they don't hear because they're just one track minded. But I can see how it works in either way, and it's a situation that it's a communication breakdown, and people need to be communicating it.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was always my thing. I've always said, I was like, as long as people communicate stuff, like I said, you may not agree with a guy who says, if someone's born with male parts at any point, I don't want any part of them, in terms of sexually. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter if you agree or not. It's like this. You should be respecting that person's stance, just like someone respecting your stance, right? Like you're like, hey, I get where you're coming from. This is where I'm coming from. Usually both sides can figure out where they can agree, right? Like, okay, I get it. So going forward, we need to make sure that both sides can say, hey, this is where I'm coming from. That's where you're coming from. So if you wish to proceed, I'm letting you know, what is my, in this case, let's call it your sexual history, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or gender history, whatever. If someone were to say that, at least the other side, this is what goes back to what we both agree on, which is communication. If the person says, hey, now I know where you're coming from, it's a no for me now because of my own discriminating factors, right?
Mm-hmm.
At least you can respect
why
that
a lot
person.
of people don't bring it up, because they're gonna face that rejection, right?
Yep.
Which is the unfortunate part. But I'm always an advocate for communication, because communication, I would rather communicate and lose out on something than be dishonest and end up, regretting it retroactively.
Yep. Well, you don't know how someone's going to react, right?
Exactly.
Like, I mean, it's easy to say, like, I'm just going to go get what I want out of this deal. But if you wind up doing
that so much,
I've seen dudes who lie to women to get laid, right?
Oh yeah.
And they suffer the consequences, in various ways. And it's like, but bro, I mean, you did lie to her. And I've seen women do the same thing, right? Lying and manipulating dudes. And when they suffer the consequences, it's like, well, I mean, had you just been honest, like if you're looking for a hookup, just say you're looking for a hookup, right?
Exactly.
Don't say that. Oh, yeah, love you. I'm looking for a relationship. I've seen lots of dudes do that shit.
Don't fucking feed lines.
Don't feed lines. Just be like, look, this is what it is. Like, you can't be mad at someone who is being open and honest, right? Like, it's exactly. Like, you may not like what they're saying, but at least you can respect them. Like, hey, I don't agree, but at least I can respect the fact they were upfront and honest. Damn.
Yeah.
You can't get honest.
I have more respect for people who are just upfront and honest.
Yeah, that was my issue when I was at Thad's, man. I'm like, that is not okay with me. Not on the trans chicks part, not on the people that I knew who were at that club. No, never. I'm like, you guys know who I am, and you didn't fucking say shit. Like, giving after that, they're like, hey, well, we tried to get your attention. Look, man, the moment fucking this broad walked into the place, you should have pulled me aside the moment she walked in. Like, yo, Drex, I know you got to disqualify her. Just letting you know. Because if there's a question, let's just think. So as a general rule with me, Chris, if there, and this goes for a lot of guys, a lot of straight guys, right? Mm-hmm. If there is even a question, that's enough for us to disqualify. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, it doesn't matter if someone agrees. Like, people should be respecting our viewpoint, right? Our preference. No different.
I mean, that goes for everybody. Everyone should
with everybody. Like, if you told me, Chris, that there's something that is a disqualifier, if I ever knew somebody or information came across my desk that said, hey, this person that Chris is talking to, especially we're talking about in this context, in the romantic sense.
Yeah,
I'd be like, yo, I gotta let Chris know, just so that you know. So it's out there, right? Yeah, exactly. I'm saying you couldn't trust me. Like, you wouldn't be able to trust me if you knew that I knew something that I didn't disclose it to you. I don't think you could trust me. You'd be like, can't trust you.
Yeah, that comes down again. Yeah, that's it's a big thing about trust. It's trust and respect. Like, yep. I know one person in my chat, Airtie, is saying it's not responsibility of like, you don't owe people anything, etc. Again, yeah, you don't owe people anything.
Oh, but what if somebody has an STD, right?
Well, exactly.
I don't owe you an explanation. But do you notice how people move the goalposts, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Chris, I'm into dudes, and let's say you're a straight woman, right? And you say I don't like dudes that are into dudes, right? Oh, well, I mean, it doesn't matter, Chris, because when I'm with you, I was with you. I'm bisexual. You see what the problem is? If you have a disqualifier, the person, you have a right to know about this person. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. And it comes down to respect and respecting other people's preferences.
Yep.
And it's a really simple
There used to be rules, man. There used to be, I'm saying this people think like, oh, Drex, you're kind of, you're outdated or old fashioned. Now, fuck that. I want to know the need to know information, right?
Yeah.
Just like August Ames needed to know, if you double dip in the porn industry as a male performer, I don't want to work with you. You see what I'm saying? Like and people can't be mad at someone for saying that. It's like, hey, if they don't feel comfortable, and like I said, I know lots of women, and they will tell you right now that if they ever walk in and their dude they found out there's a dude that was doing stuff with other dudes, they're done. They're like, nope, I'm good. Nope.
Yeah.
But now, this though, Chris, there's a percentage of women who are okay with that.
Yeah. And
then go to
that's the
them.
thing. It's
That's
like
all we're
you
saying.
can find those people and be with those people.
Always. And that's always my thing.
Yeah.
There's enough people in the world. We got 7.6 billion. If you're
Exactly.
into whatever, that you can find somebody in your neck of the woods, wherever your neck of the woods is, that's okay with what you're into, right? Whether it be a kink, whether it be whatever. It's like there's always gonna be someone out there who's gonna say, "Yep, that's my shit."
Exactly. No, I agree with that. I agree with that. But again, it comes down to communication. It comes down to respect.
Yep.
And I think the world is lacking in both of those categories a lot right now.
Sadly, very sadly,
unfortunately. But that is about all the time that we have for the show today. So I wanted to thank you, Drexel. Do you have any final remarks before we kick off?
I mean, other than it's great that you had me on again. It's been a while.
It has been a while, yeah.
A long while. I think the last time I talked to you, was it summer? Right? Summertime, if I recall.
Yeah.
Fuck. Don't realize
it's been a long ass time.
Oh, you don't realize how quickly these months go by because everyone's been kind of like locked in. So you look up and you say, well, shit, it's January.
Just all runs together.
Yeah, what a fucking year! Wow. But yeah, thanks for having me on, and I'll have to put you on my show and we'll talk about some random shit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's always something crazy happening, and don't think I'm not gonna go in on these German shepherds tomorrow.
Every day.
All out of salt. All out of Chris, I gotta keep my foot on their fucking neck. And you need to keep your foot on Justin Trudeau's neck, the fucking power bottom cuck. That is a fucking joke.
Oh my God. That is a topic for another day. Absolutely.
Justin Trudeau. You know what? Do you know, look, people talk about how everyone's like laughing at America. When people look at Justin Trudeau, they look at Canada and go, "Are you guys serious? This guy, like, fucking Justin Trudeau." I mean, we're about to be made the laughing stock with Biden and Harris, obviously. I mean, people are looking at, "Are you guys serious?"
Yeah, good luck with
that. It is what it is.
I mean, you didn't really have many options, but
I tell you what, a dead cockroach would have been a better option.
You could, I mean, y'all could have just come together and wrote in a candidate,
Literally, I kid you not. You could have literally just shown anybody. I'd be like, approved. No history in politics. Fucking, you could have literally said anyone. I'd be like, I'll take them. Just not Biden and Harris. Just not them. It is what it is, man. But people are going to get what they deserve, right? That's what they asked for. Exactly. And when they suffer the consequences, like California has a full lockdown. When Biden and Harris take away all their rights and they go, "What the hell happened?" That's what you voted for, right?
That's going to be an interesting time. It'll be a very interesting time.
Yeah, not for us. Don't worry, we're only a few years behind you guys in Canada, man. We'll get caught up with you guys pretty soon. Social utopia.
There you go. Well, thank you so much, Drexel, for joining. Thanks everyone in the chat and in the Twitch stream that's been watching. Really appreciate all of you. I'll probably come on for a stream a little bit later, stream some video games.
Do it the Nick way. Be a Twitch thought.
Exactly. I'll be a Twitch thought.
Open up that OnlyFans. It's time. The fans demand it.
Oh my goodness. So we'll sign off. Thank you guys so much in the chat. Thank you for watching.
Thanks again, Chris. Have a good one, everybody.
Later on. Take care.
Peace.
All right. So the stream is off.